early to start. So this is this is the way you got to go if you're doing a podcast. But hello, everybody.
Oh yeah.
I
Welcome
very
in.
nearly asked if that frog was me or Gadget,
I,
but that's
I
That's not me for certain.
nope.
Well, which one of me is it? Gadget 1 or 2?
Which of us is in your throat, Taco?
I don't why I said there's a frog in my throat. What do you guys?
Beano slash Gadget frog.
Oh, oh, wow.
Oh yeah.
Wow.
You didn't understand when I said Gadget 1 or 2?
No, you guys completely threw me for a loop there. I'm not gonna even remotely lie. Uh, but welcome all to Three Beans in a Pod, episode 2.
There we go. There you are.
Beano Supremo has just hosted the stream for 1 viewers. Thanks, buddy. Again, I don't have an alert box set up, so of course it has to do the alert. So thank you, OBS and Streamlabs and whatever else. But as per usual, I am your channel host for the week, Dr. Taco 1982, aka Adam, and as always, at least thus far, we have my lad from down under, Beano Supremo.
Hello.
And my lad from way to the west of me, Gadget.
Hello.
So, last week was, well, not last week, last time. Let's reframe that. Last time, episode number 1. I feel like we all had a super duper good time. Really enjoyed the heck out of it. I'm actually still working on getting an audio version of it going. I've been kind of dragging my feet because I've been wanting to reach out to you guys as far as like suggestions for like opening and closing music. I know there's a lot of like royalty free stuff that we can find. I just haven't really done anything with that yet. But there will be an audio version of the podcast coming. I promise. It will be on Anchor, and then it'll be distributed out however they do their distributing. But it was pretty good. We got a lot of good feedback from our previous podcast. Everybody seemed to really enjoy it, and we were very excited to kind of leap into a second episode. I think we were all very pleased and far more excited than we kind of anticipated. So
Definitely.
I am very much excited to be going forward today with more podcast.
Any excuse to shoot the shit with the boys. You know what I'm saying?
Exactly.
Word up. And I was gonna save this for whenever I do the Saturday morning cartoon stream, but I wanted to try the beer, so I am drinking. It's literally called Saturday Morning. The can looks like freaking Lucky Charms.
I was gonna say it looks like cereal.
It
It's
is
got
a
cereal taste.
No, it is a marshmallow IPA.
Excuse me?
Yeah. In America, we make crazy beer.
It's accurate though.
Do.
It is Saturday morning, so it's not wrong.
There you go. That was just for you, Beano. I'm drinking it just for you. But hopefully this week, we're gonna have a lot of fun with everybody. We actually have a chat box set up, so when we repost it to YouTube, people are gonna be able to see the chat interaction. So there's a lot of every time we do it, I try and think of new and better ways for this podcast to grow. Like, I can see my hand actually at the bottom of Beano's thing, but that's neither here nor there at the moment.
Come and join me in Australia, mate.
I will. Don't worry. So what I'm gonna do? I'm just gonna boop you down a little bit, and that should fix that. Yep, that fixed it. Okay, we're good. That was bothering me. But before we jump straight into everything, Beano, Gadget, what have we been up to recently? What have you guys been doing?
I have been Dark Soulsing like an absolute Chad, as is what I do. That is who I am. And I have been clapping Alan Wake as well. And that game is blowing my mind out of its own butthole. It is, it's a 10-year-old game or so, but it is unbelievably good.
Yeah. I'm surprised. Well, I'm happy that you really like and are having a great time with Alan Wake. So I know at first you were having some big issues with the frames and whatnot.
Yeah, it sure did. Like my computer, I don't want to flex, but my computer's not bad, and this 10-year-old Xbox 360 game was running at like 12 frames a second, and I was like, well, this is great. But no,
Yeah,
it's
I
just
wasn't for certain if you were going to be able to do another stream with it or not. I thought it was going to be the end after the first one, just because of the frames.
Yeah, we should be finishing it next week though, so that's episodes 5 and 6 to go, and then we're done. So, and then Gadget knows what's coming up after that. We've talked about it a little bit, so that'll be big hype. Taco doesn't know.
Taco doesn't know.
It'll be
I
hype.
am
There may
excited.
be a wheel involved.
Oh, okay. No. I have a vague idea of things that may be happening then.
I don't think you do.
No, I don't think you do either.
Well, I'm allowed to
There
think.
may or may not be 19 or so wheels involved.
See,
18 wheel is still a thing.
of course 18 wheelers
Might
are
be.
still a thing. Why wouldn't they be a thing?
True. We just call them B
Yeah.
doubles, you know.
I'm literally just turning off all my channel points.
Quick, get the
That's
farts in
a
while
good
you can.
idea.
Boys.
No, none
Also
of that
the
stuff's
blurb.
even up. Well, what about you, Gadget? What have you been up to recently?
Let's see. Well, I have been playing Bloodborne. I am on the last boss of it, which is pretty cool. I haven't done the DLC. I'm not sure if I'm going to do the DLC or not, and continue. Like, there's tons of different side bosses too that you can go out of your way and find. Because I actually just bought Hellpoint, which is a pretty much sci-fi Dark Souls-ish game with like Dead Space monsters and whatnot. I bought that on sale for like $20 on the PlayStation Store sale that they're having going on right now. So I'm very, very excited to play that.
Big hype for Hellpoint.
Oh yeah, Beano's the one who recommended it to me, and I never heard about it until he told me about it.
I've heard it's kind of ordinary, but if you're comparing Dark Souls clones to Dark Souls, nothing's ever going to come close, is it? So,
Well, from what I read, it's the most Dark Souls type of Souls-like game that's going to get as close to a Dark Souls as possible, like compared to
I
the other
believe it.
ones. At least the first one. That's what I've been hearing. Let's see. Besides that, not a whole lot. Just watching my son and hanging out with the family. You know. On my spare time, I started playing Mafia 2 for the first time. That one's pretty cool. I'm enjoying it.
I'll say that's a game series that I constantly look at, and I feel like I should play it, but there's so many of those open world type games that I just end up not playing because I'm just like I don't feel like I'm gonna have the time to really dive into it at all.
Yeah. Well, that one's on sale, or it still might be. It's like $15, the second one, and I really like mob movies and whatnot, the Italian mob movies, and I thought, hey, why not give this game a shot, you know, so I can go through it. I haven't played a good like mafia type of game probably since either Scarface or Yakuza. Well, not Yakuza, but that technically is too, but the Godfather game back on the PS2.
Oh yeah, I played a little bit of that one on, I think the 360, or
Mm-hmm.
I played one at some Godfather game, and um, it was an experience. It wasn't the
Yeah.
most polished game I think I've ever played in my life. It was, especially the driving in that game was pretty atrocious, but
Yeah.
it was a lot of fun to just sneak up and garrote people in that game. Like
Yeah.
as you do, you know.
as a mafioso is known to do.
Oh yeah.
I have been working. I mean, it's like I've been getting my streams in when I can. We did a first like WWE stream the other day. That was a lot of fun.
Oh, that was so
was
much
fun.
fun.
that was. I'm glad it
Or
was.
Sket.
Sket Trevor, he tried hard, man. He tried
Get
real hard.
Trevor.
I wanted that to be such a different day, but the way everything worked out in my personal life, like it just really limited what I could actually do with that stream. Uh, However, based on what I did with that stream, I had a hell of a good time with it. Skeletor, the
Definitely.
freaking unrivaled boss of wrestling, until he hit the coronavirus. That is, but you know what are you gonna do? What are you gonna do? And the freaking meme Royal Rumble during it was I think it had a bit of a disappointing ending, but in general it was so good. So yeah, I'm definitely looking forward to doing some more random WWE stuff. Um, I kind of want to do kind of like Dork Chop's doing, uh, but with the wrestling game. But I kind of don't want to like step on his toes when he's like literally doing something like that right now.
You should be
Yeah, I
fine.
was,
I did that same thing with wrestling probably when I started streaming. What was it, like last September ish? I had a my own like Twitch federation with all the main viewers, and we had a lot of fun with it. But it was 2K20 and tons of crash.
2K20 do be a bit of a glitch fest. That I do know.
I was thinking about doing something similar with the F1 games and doing like AI drivers and trying to. Oh, Gadget's dead. Oh no.
These are the. Hey, you know what?
Gadget, come back.
There he is. He's back. He's back in Pog form.
That's a good meme.
It is. That is 100% meme for this channel. No, I wanted to do that really bad because they had like I think it was called like F1 Manager or something like that. And it was on
Yes.
sale on Steam for like $5 or something at one point, and I really wanted to pick it up because, especially with the freaking meme of hell yeah, pro podcast. Um, the
Definitely.
Oh
with
yes.
the meme of Renzo, and of course you being the vroom vroom car guy.
Me
uh
being who I am and what I do.
I was literally going to have like the taco racing team, and Renzo and Beano were going to be like my top two drivers. But then I started looking into like the customization of the game and everything, and apparently to fully customize the game, you've got to just start installing all sorts of mods and tinkering with all the names. And I was like, why? It's like it's a manager game. Why don't you just let me create something?
Why
So
won't you let me manage, please?
basically, so it's just kind of sitting in my wish list right now. If it ever gets like super cheap, like $5 or something, like maybe I'll pick it up and then just kind of like play with it. But it's like I hate mods. I hate playing with mods and doing stuff like that. Um,
It's just so much effort when it shouldn't necessarily have to be.
mm-hmm.
Like I remember way back when trying to install a bunch of mods on Minecraft, and I for the life of me could not get it to work.
Yeah, that's why. I mean, I have, thanks to my brother, I have like a PC copy of Minecraft, but that's primarily why I just played on PS4. I don't have to play with anything. I don't have to change anything. Just put in the disc and go to town.
Yeah.
Um, Gosh, I mean, if we're just talking about like the streams I've been doing, I've just been Mario Odyssey. I'm trying to play stuff that I'm having fun with. Mario Odyssey is another one that I'm enjoying the heck out of. So that's good gam. WWE's good gam. I really, like I said, I really want to do something with that. I just don't know what yet. Also, it was absolutely amazing, Gadget, the fact that you were like, WWE 2K20 sure is full of glitches, and then immediately you like broke, and it was like,
Immediately just dead.
I was like,
Yeah.
there's no way
Just don't
that
even
could have
bring it up.
been. It's like they know.
Exactly.
Ooh, that could be a 2021 games we need conversation piece kind of. But other than that, the only other thing that I really have going on is I did have a job interview on Tuesday doesn't matter, a few days ago from when we're recording this, and they were like, oh, the earliest you'll hear from us is Friday. So I was like, okay, well, they said if you hear from us. They go, if you never hear from us, then that means we went with somebody else. And I'm like, oh, whatever, that's fine. So a couple days passes, and then all of a sudden I get a text message, and the text message says, hello, we sent you an email on this day with a tentative job offer. And I was like, no. So I go and I look, and my email, for whatever reason, went to my spam email. So,
that happens.
yeah, nice little job offer right into the spam email. But him saying I was going to have to wait till Friday was apparently a big lie. My interview was at 10 in the morning. It ended at 11:30, and they emailed me at 4 o'clock giving me a job offer. So
speed running that hiring process, baby.
apparently it went very well.
Good.
So I'm just doing like the background check, and on Monday I have to I don't know what the drug test is going to be. Every place is different. Some people want a swab, some people want hair, some people want pee in a cup. So we'll see what one they want. But after that, I'm pretty much looking forward to being a warehouse worker with a essentially 9 to 5 Monday through Friday job. And it's going to be
That's awesome.
So good.
Champ.
It's literally 8:30 to 5:30, and they have, he said, quote unquote, mandatory overtime, and all it is, he says, is like, if we're excessively busy with product for the week, everybody comes in on Saturday. He's like, I've never had anybody here like more than 4 hours on a Saturday. He's like, because Saturday is our day off, nobody wants to be here. So I'm like,
yeah,
I'm down with
reasonable.
Well, it's good that you're going to have a set schedule finally. That'll be a little bit easier for you, and to make time with the wife as well, and make time to actually set a schedule for your streaming and whatnot as well.
Yep, I'm probably for the first couple of weeks, I'm probably going to scale back the streaming until I kind of get a feel of like the job flow. Once I have a better idea of that, then I'll kind of work with it. But I'm probably going to almost be doing like stream on Sunday, because that's like the one day I'm guaranteed that I'm not going to be working at all. They don't do anything on Sunday. So it's like I'll stream Sunday, and then they said, sometimes like they'll work an extra like 20-30 minutes on a weekday or whatever, but I live 6 minutes from the job. Like it's literally nothing. So it's like if I work extra, it's not going to be a big deal. So
Exactly.
I'm very much looking forward to that, and hopefully it's going to give me the work-life balance that I have been looking for almost since I've like lived in Maryland. So it's been a good almost 10 years. Yeah, let's say closing in on 10 years. So
Well, that's awesome, and congrats again, and I really hope that it works out well for you, and you get to have much more time with just your family in general.
agreed.
Yes, I too echo exactly what Gadget said.
What? Bill
Oh,
says,
no.
why did you use that? You need to attract people. What did I do? Oh.
I knew he was going to bring that up.
So
Og.
eventually, like I said, there will be an audio version of this. So I have featured on our live stream of it. Who requested it? Gadget, you requested it?
Yes.
Okay, so it's a random Bill. Wonderful streamer. Check him out if you haven't. Twitch.tv/It's a Random Bill, all one word. He has a channel reward for Doodle, and Gadget asked him to doodle a 3 beans in a pod logo. So he made a little logo, which is what you can see on the screen of the little pea pod. It's got me at the top with the glasses and beard. It's got Gadget in the middle with the beard, and then it's got Beano at the bottom with a partial beard, and his Beano.
Shitty mustache is the term that I usually
The
go with.
cheeky mustache, the cheeky tash. So yes, I wanted to feature that. I feel it's much better than the little pod one I made, which was all of our beautiful Pog champ faces. But I had to use it because it is just a beautiful. It's a beautiful.
It's just so
thing.
good. It's so good.
Well, we do plan on using it until segue to it. What is the command again?
Bean pod.
All right.
Gotcha.
Yes.
Speed.
But yeah.
So we have our podcast Discord open, and people, we have a one channel, like it says like memes or whatever, but it's just for creative people if they want to decide to make memes or whatever for the podcast,
Fan
like
art of the boys. Just
fan
saying.
arts, or even like a jingle if you do music or whatever, and you feel artistic enough and like this enough, you are more than welcome to add it to the Discord.
Oh, that would solve all of our theme song issues if somebody makes us a fancy little jingle, because then I can put that I can put that on the front of the audio version whenever I get that going. So, well, that's good. I like that idea.
Mm-hmm.
So, join the Discord if you want to join the Discord. We'll talk there. It's going to be a great time. Give us ideas for podcasts because we're lazy. I mean, we're always looking to our customers. Wow, I am a big brain today. Viewers for any.
We got to give the people what they want.
I do. I have to give the people what they want. I should have worn something other than white, by the way, because it is just clashing so hard with the white on there. That is a complete aside. I'm sorry, everybody.
That's why I wear flannies. The red flanny is all you need.
I don't own any flanny. Also,
Sacrilege.
I don't hear the mower either, so I think we're doing pretty good.
Yeah, I don't hear it.
I think it's gone.
Oh, hashtag use code Bill for 10% off at checkout. That's right. Go to beyondenergy.com and use code Bill. Beano is drinking it today.
Wild forest fruits flavor today, everybody.
Wild forest fruits. Nice.
It's pretty good. It's not as good as the strawberry, watermelon, and lime that I had yesterday, but it's pretty good.
I'll take your word for it. All right. I think with that awkward pause, because we didn't have anything else to talk about at the moment, do we want to jump in to... Well, okay. Since we're going to work on this whole segment thing eventually. Like we're gonna get... Once we get an actual pacing for the show, like we'll figure this out. Did we want to do... If you have a fact of the day gadget, do we want to do a gadget's fun fact of the day? Or did we just want to jump into segment 1 and just go right into our faves of 2020?
We can do the fun facts of the day. I have 2 video game fun facts of the day for you. More of history as well. All right, so today, in 1993, Mortal Kombat, the arcade machine, came out to the public.
Really?
It was the first one, yes. I played that a ton as a kid. I was probably like 3 or 4. Way too young to be playing that machine, but boy, did I have a great time. And I would love to own the original machine some point later on in life. That's always been a little goal of mine.
No, that is actually kind of cool. I like how some random cool stuff is just kind of aligning with whenever we do the podcast. Like that is really cool. That like when you're doing your fun fact of the day research, do you just go to Google and put video game history insert day, or just
Yes, lately that's all I've been doing. Before we did the podcast, I would just think of something very random and just have it be the fact of the day. But I thought, hey, we're doing this podcast. Let's make it a little unique. And we do a lot of video game talk. So I thought, hey, let's do a little history, make it fun for the viewers, and just talk about what happened in the past.
So
which stars have aligned with this podcast?
Yeah.
Happy 28th birthday to Mortal Kombat.
Yep.
Imagine being
and
born
also,
in 1993. Just imagine.
Yes. And also, Pokemon Sapphire and Ruby came out today in America.
What year?
What year?
I do not remember the year at the moment, but it was not 93. I can
It
tell you that.
definitely was not 93. That would be
I
super
forget
impressive.
at the moment when they came out, but
Pokemon
they
Ruby and
they released today in America.
2002.
Yes,
I'm guessing. Beano's
it's
looking it
something
up.
like that. I was in
Fact-
junior high. That's all I remember.
fact verification.
Oh, I want to know.
Release North America 2003.
Oh, I knew it was between 2002 and 2004. I just guessed. Oh, I was about to say I knew it was in. Well, because it's a Game Boy Advance game. I was like, okay, it has to be after 2000. I was like, so where is it falling? Damn, I was so close. I was so close.
Oof.
I'm trying to remember. I think it was that one. I was a little boy, junior high, and that I was addicted to Pokemon, and I was like to my mom or my grandma. I was like, "Hey, can I please get the game when it comes out? I'll be good in like schoolwork and all this stuff." And apparently, I didn't do too well in the schoolwork. Like my
No.
report card came in, and it was probably not to their liking, but they still got me the game, and they were so upset at me. And God, did I feel like shit getting that game and playing it afterwards.
Oh, no.
Yeah.
The guilt is real.
Yeah.
Oof. The big oof.
That's all right. I think that was at a point where, I mean, I've pretty much, I think I've played every mainline Pokemon game, but I think that was at a point where I had kind of taken a break. I think I actually played Diamond and Pearl, and then kind of went back. But no, Sapphire and Ruby is good. I probably give them. I probably give it like a 7 out of 10. Too much water, but it's how it be.
I think I
It's
ever
probably one
played
of my
those two.
favorite gens of Pokemon, actually. Besides like the first gen, it would be that, and then probably the X and Y.
Okay.
I really love the starters of Sapphire. That's one I went with. 'Cause that's my birthstone as well. That was so dumb, but I like the legendary Kyogre. I know a lot of people prefer Groudon, but hey, I'm a Kyogre guy.
Me
Kyogre's mad.
too. No, I'm not a big Groudon. Give me them water Pokemans. That's the ones I'm all about,
Yeah.
baby.
This says
So,
2
yeah.
years after their release, they became the best-selling Game Boy Advance games of all time.
That doesn't surprise me.
Kind of surprises me. I thought that'd have been something.
I mean,
Well-
what else would go up against Pokemon though?
True.
Well, I could think of maybe like Red Fire and Leaf Green, but that's another Pokemon,
I mean,
Were there any
that
big
one sold
Game Boy
tons
Advance
as
Marios
well.
or anything?
not that I can recall. Most of the Mario
There was-
games were ports of the original.
Yeah, I was about to say there was tons of different NES ports of Mario and Zeldas and whatnot. Maybe Metroid, was it Metroid Prime Fusion? Wasn't that a Game Boy Advance game? Or Zero Mission? I know that one did really well.
Yeah, I think it was just Metroid Fusion. I think it was literally just
Yeah.
called Fusion.
And Zero Mission as well. There was 2.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Thanks,
Also,
Google.
I'll say also fact checked by Valroth.
Oh,
About to say
I'm trying to
the
think
only
of
other
what
thing I could think of would be like maybe some of the Castlevania games, but
God, those are good.
I mean, they're absolutely amazing games. I love the heck out of them, but I don't think they necessarily were like
Definitely
very
not
good
the top
sellers.
selling. Yeah.
Not compared to Pokemon anyway, I wouldn't have thought.
Oh, definitely not compared to Pokemon. That's
I guess there was the Zelda. There was Minishing Cup. Was that what it was called?
Minish Cap.
Yeah, Minish Cap. Where you're like a mini Link and you're fighting like bugs and whatnot.
Yeah.
Legend of Zelda: The Minish Cap. Yes.
Oh, imagine trying to fix the stream and breaking it midstream
PogChamp.
because OBS is the freaking best thing I've ever worked with in my entire life. I don't know. I love the Game Boy Advance. It was probably a little late for me because I mean at that point I was 18, between 18 and 20, really for the prime of the GBA. I definitely had a small collection of games. Like, I think the game that actually made me get a GBA was like Dragon Ball Z Legend of Goku or something like that.
Oh God, those are so good. The Legend, yes.
And
There's like 3 of them.
it's just it's there weren't many games yet in America for Dragon Ball and Dragon Ball Z. So when they released that, I was like, ah, finally a Dragon Ball Z game. So I picked that up and I enjoyed it. I enjoyed that game very, very much. But yeah, I mean, I primarily used my GBA for like the Castlevania was Circle of the Moon. I forget what the other one is. I actually have a dual cart that has Circle of the Moon and whatever the other GBA one is, but I just can't remember what it's called.
See, I'm getting them confused with the Game Boy Color ones too. There were some really good Game Boy Color Castlevanias that they sound so familiar with the Game Boy Advance ones. I know the DS ones; those are top notch too.
Yeah, those are other ones I gotta get into because when I played okay, it is Harmony of Dissonance. That's what I thought it was, but I wasn't
That's
positive.
it. That one's really good.
No, when I played Symphony of the Night, like it's just I fell in love with the whole Metroidvania thing after that.
Mm-hmm.
So whenever I saw like going forward, pretty much Castlevania was staying in that same vein. That's why I was like, I got to pick these up, like because I just enjoy this style of game like way too much, which is kind of funny because I don't think I've ever actually played a Metroid game, but I enjoy the Vania part of the Metroidvanias.
That's why I said you should probably play like the Metroid Fusion or Zero Mission. It's just like the Castlevania types of the time.
I know I definitely need to play Super Metroid. I look at that game. That game is still beautiful to this day. It's fantastic music in that game. The sprite work is fantastic. It's just not something I've like sunk my teeth into yet. I think it's on the Super Nintendo Classic. And
It is on the Classic, and it is on the Switch.
I keep looking for reasons to fire up my Classic. It's literally right here. It's literally right here. I just haven't fired it up yet. So it's something that I'm gonna do eventually.
That's funny because I just started playing my SNES Classic this week again. I have it modded, and what did I play? I played the Aladdin. I beat that within like an hour, the Super Nintendo one, and then I started the SNES Superman, the Death of Superman beat 'em up game. Man, is that one good?
It's good. It's hard, but it's good.
Yeah.
Same thing for the Sega one. They're both really hard games, but they're very fun beat 'em ups.
Yeah.
I'm gonna keep getting stuck on tangents, but I'm gonna tackle this one just real quick. The only issue I have with Superman games, and especially like the older ones, Superman's basically invincible. That's his power. Superman's power is I have whatever power the comic needs me to have. So it's just very odd when you're playing a Superman video game and Superman gets punched by a no power bad guy and his health bar goes down. And you can eventually just die to random bullets. And it's just like, I understand they can't make him invincible, but it's just like, eh.
Well, you either do that or you do like the what was it called? The Superman Returns game, I think it was called.
Yeah, the
where
one
it's
based on
like
the movie.
the city. Yeah, where it's the city getting destroyed and that's your health bar.
See, I thought that was an interesting take on it. It's not perfect, but it was an interesting take on a life bar. So
yeah,
I think with that, now that we've kind of hit our facts of the day, hit our tangents, I realized that we probably need to get better at this podcast thing, and like especially since we are going to be doing an audio version, maybe actually discuss our topics at the top of the show, because for those watching it, they kind of have an advantage. They can literally see all the stuff on the screen and be like, oh, that's what we're talking about today. But today, we're kind of broken down into our little segments here. The main focus of our podcast today will be our favorite games of 2020, our worst games of 2020, or like the ones we had the least good experience with. Going forward in the rest of 2021, the games we need or looking forward to, and then of course our open stream Q&A at the end, kind of like we did last time. So, faves of 2020. I'll go ahead and start, and then you guys can work off of whatever I talk about, whatever you guys want to do. So I kind of eliminated a lot of stuff off my list because there were a lot of games that I only played for like maybe an hour and a half or something like that. So I was like, I don't feel like I can give anything like a fair enough like opinion. Like I had Rogue Company and Genshin Impact, but I mean I played like 3 rounds of Rogue Company and I played maybe an hour of Genshin Impact, and it was like, this is anime Breath of the Wild. Okay, well, I don't need to play a free anime Breath of the Wild. I'm just gonna go about my business now. So I'll tackle the games that I really enjoyed this year. And my game of the year is going to be probably like kind of goofy sounding, but I'm going to give it to it anyways. I don't care. So the games that I enjoyed the most were Predator Hunting Grounds, Fall Guys Ultimate Knockout, Phasmophobia, and then my game that I'm going to make my 2020 game of the year, and I'll circle back to it. A lot of my favorite games this year have been multiplayer based. I've really enjoyed being able to play with my friends, and that's kind of the gaming that I enjoy now. I enjoy a far more casual and interactive thing like that. That's why Phasmophobia is definitely up there. Like it's not the world's prettiest game, it's not the world's best game, but I have had so much fun getting the poo-poo scared out of me, running around looking for ghosts with my friends, and they've really captured in that game the ghost hunting feel. Like it's something that, you know, I watch like the show Ghost Adventures, and I love that show because it's so like Zach Baggins is such an over the top memeable individual that it's just like I just get sucked into that stupid show. But they were able to capture that kind of like experience in the video game, and I give them all the credit in the world, especially since I believe it was only one guy working on the game. It's I think he's hired a couple people to help him at this point, but in general it's one dude working on this game and just like busting his ass to keep updating it.
That Phasmophobia is one that I've always wanted to play, but just never gotten around to. I don't know if it's just because I haven't had a group to play it with. What's what I'm looking for? Reliably. Like I haven't had like a consistent group of people that I could play it with, because I think that you need people to play it with. So
Yeah.
regardless of if you can or cannot do it solo, like you need people to play it with to get the most out of the experience.
Yeah, I've seen a lot of people solo it, but
you know, with 2020 being like just the pandemic and everything, and you know being shut in, I'd say it also did a really good job with bringing like online multiplayer type of games.
Yeah, true.
For last year, when you think about it, like there were some really, really big hits like Fall Guys, Among Us, and Phasmophobia. You know, those were huge.
I was gonna say Among Us, but like Among Us actually is like a 2018 game or something like that.
Yeah,
it just kind of blew up again because reasons.
Quarantine.
But it's just like, so that was like that kind of went onto my list immediately, but it just was like, you know, I was like, it's not 2020, so it's popping off there. I know Gadget, you and I talked a little bit about Predator Hunting Grounds. I tried the beta, and that's kind of where I got like locked into it. Like it was me and my buddies, and we were just playing the hell out of it over like I think it was only like 2 or 3 days where you actually got to play the beta. So basically, it was like as soon as I was done at work, we jumped on that beta, and it's something that I need to play more of. It's just there's so much random stuff I play that I don't have a lot of time to just jump into it. But I love that it's not just a typical like it is a if memory serves it's a 1v4, and it's not just like you either beat the predator or the predator beats you. Each stage is a mission. It's like go collect intel or go collect this guy. Like there's always a bunch of things that you have to do while evading the predator, while shooting bad guys, while trying to escape. So it managed to still capture that like Dead by Daylight feel more or less, but it also feels like there's like another part of the game to it. So that's why I've really enjoyed Hunting Ground. You know, it's I don't think like I was telling Gadget, I don't think it's a full price game. Like it's if you can pick it up for like 10 or 15 bucks, then it is definitely a viable game. But at the either $30 to $40 price tag, like I just think that prices it out like way too high. The replayability is there if you have buddies, or if you're gonna play it solo, definitely like learn how to be a predator. But for me personally, like I said, this was kind of like the year of like multiplayer games. So having another game where I could hook up with my buddies and shoot the bad guys and get the predator, like it was always a very good time. Fall Guys, that was just kind of like that, kind of like Among Us, just kind of like blew up. I think it's because we do live in that world of like viral nature with video games. It just blew up on Twitch, it blew up on YouTube, and everybody wanted to play it. And it's a relatively easy accessible game. It's quote unquote, you know, hard depending on how good you are at those type of like weird platforming things. But as far as like a battle royal type game, it probably was like my second favorite one that I played of the year. I appreciate that they keep working on it. I'm very much looking forward to the newest update that they're doing, which is they're like adding Among Us stuff into the game. So I'm curious to see what little costumes are going to be, or if they take any other inspiration as far as like the game maps or something. But yeah. I've played that game I don't know how many times, and I think I've only won maybe 6 times. I'm just trash at that game.
That's 6 more times than I'm
genius.
not gonna lie.
Yeah, I haven't played it at all, but man, I thought that was a genius idea to make an actual video game version of like Ninja Warrior or
Yep.
Takeshi's Castle. You know, it's just I can't believe it's never been done before, and especially with the battle royal type of games that are that whole mode has popped off. Perfect choice, perfect type of game for that mode.
Well, they made, I think it was only on the Wii, but they made like a handful of Wipeout games, which were, you know, based around, you know, Most Extreme Elimination Challenge or Takeshi's Castle, whatever you want to call it. I like saying MXC because I love the parody version of it, how they overdub it and stuff like that. But the Wipeout game was kind of like plagued with motion controls, and it definitely looked like shovelware. It did not look like, other than just capitalizing on a property, it's just like, look, you get to do the things in the show, except it doesn't feel like you're doing anything like in the show. But it's literally, the game just looks like trash. I have nothing good to say about the game other than, hey, they made a Wipeout game.
Yeah. It's kind of crazy when you think about it, how big Ninja Warrior was in Japan. That's the one I love.
Yeah.
That used to be on G4.
Yep.
It's kind of surprising they never made a type of Ninja Warrior game back in the day, at least for Japan. That was very big at the time, you know? Like, I'm kind of shocked they wouldn't have made like a PS2 type of Ninja Warrior game at the time or anything, but no.
I think they also did make a Ninja Warrior game for like PS3 or 360 at some point.
Did they?
I feel like I've seen American Ninja Warrior.
Oh, that's completely different. Yeah.
Um,
That doesn't surprise me. That's probably a motion type of game, right? Or
yeah,
Connect.
but I'll say, speaking of that, like this just popped in my head, the most random thing. There was for free on the 360 for a while. It was like a Dorito, I think it was called Doritos Crash Course or something, and it was like a obstacle course where they were trying to mimic that whole like Ninja Warrior thing, but it was all Doritos themed, and it was like it was free and it was fun, and people like you tried to rank higher and higher, which was about the only real goal of the game, but yeah, there's something about for lack of a better term, obstacle course games. I mean, I think at the end of the day, it would probably fall under platforming, but
Yeah.
I don't really feel like there's been a lot of really good obstacle course games. Maybe other than a couple of like miniature golf games. But
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know. Maybe we'll see some more stuff in the future thanks to Fall Guys. I know a lot of people will probably just be like, it's a ripoff or whatever. But like honestly, if they wanted to straight up release like a Takeshi's Castle now, I wouldn't be mad at it. I would scoop that up relatively quickly because it would just be a goofy little homage to the show. So
Or wouldn't it even be cool just to have like Takeshi's Castle or Ninja Warrior type DLC or like maps for Fall Guys even?
oh true.
If that could even exist, that would be amazing.
Just tie the two together, Fall Guys and Ninja Warrior.
Yeah.
I would.
Just having a quick look on Twitch here, just out of curiosity. Fall Guys sure has died off recently. There's not a great
That's
deal of
sad.
people watching it.
Yeah, it's.
I remember when it was at its peak, it was huge.
Well, that's kind of like also the meme on Twitter. If you go to it every single time, they tweet out like, "Oh, coming this week, we have this new item." Like the first like 23 replies to it are "dead game, dead game," and it's like it's partially a meme, and I guess it is partially true. But considering the fact that they keep we're entering season 4 shortly, I think. I mean, they're not slowing down on content. Like they are constantly working and trying to keep the game fresh. I think there's only so many ways to really keep it fresh, which is why I said like I'm very interested in the Among Us, because now they're kind of tapping into like the other to new hotness that's out there. I think even Among Us has kind of died down a little bit at this point. Valheim is kind of the current new hotness.
Yeah, that's the big Twitch game.
You're not getting anything else.
But
only
it's I don't know. I like Fall Guys. I think Fall Guys was a lot of fun. I really enjoyed it. I just got a bunch of pills. Nothing wrong with that. Can't be mad at it.
I
But
like watching Fall Guys.
hey-o. But with all of that being said, I'm gonna give you my favorite game of the year. My 2020 game of the
Can I
year.
guess?
If you want to guess, go for it.
Da 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 da.
Hell yes. I loved
Oh, he's good.
Mario 35. That was hands down my sleeper surprise hit of 2020. I've played that ad nauseum. Like I almost was reaching a point where I felt bad with how often I was streaming it. But it just I like to stream games. I'm finding I like to stream games that I have fun playing. Like if I do not have fun playing a game, it is like a struggle to get through. But with Mario 35, it's that weird perfect balance of a battle royal elimination game and speed platforming. And playing Mario 35 like makes me want to try and play or at least attempt like some sort of Super Mario 1 speed run, because it's like I know I'm going to be bad at it, and I know Super Mario 35 is vastly different with the game physics because it actually doesn't emulate the original game. It more so is the later games, and it's very weird to actually go back to Super Mario Brothers and try and play it when you're used to jumping on something and it sends you flying way higher. Well, it doesn't do that. Like, there's a lot of little things like that. Or when you get hit, like you shrink immediately. You don't just lose the fire flower. So there's a lot of little things that are different in the game, but it still just makes me sit there and go, and this kind of harkens back to what we said in the first episode about, how influential Mario 1 was, and the fact that they were able to take Mario, the very first Mario game, again, and turn it into a battle royal game that's addictive and just ridiculous to play. Just the basic premise of I play this game and knock people out by sending bad guys to them. Like, the premise of it is just completely ridiculous. Which is why, honestly, I didn't think I was going to like it. I was like, this just seems so gimmicky, and it's just not going to work. But nope, completely free game, and unfortunately, I still have not seen anything that says, like, nope, we're not getting rid of it. So I think they're still going to be taking it away at the end of the month. So
that's sad.
F.
That is definitely my biggest issue with that game, unfortunately. But yeah, like I said, for me, my surprise game of the year definitely was Super Mario Brothers 35. So those are the games that I really, really loved this year.
Now that I think about it, Sonic is turning 30 this year. What if we get a Sonic type of battle royal like that? Green Hill Zone, I mean, wouldn't that be cool?
It would be cool, but it's such a... I feel like they'd almost have to pick levels that are more streamlined.
Yeah.
Because I feel like that's part of the fun of the Super Mario... The Mario 35 using the original levels is just... It's good because it's pretty much... You're always going forward. Like, there's nothing... Yeah. There's no, like, ups, downs all over the places. And I think that's why it works so well. Because I was kind of thinking the same thing with, Sonic. I think it would be great to have something like that. But if they want to do that, use whatever pixelated Sonic you want to use. But give us levels from Sonic 1, 2, and 3. And Sonic and Knuckles. Just choose the most streamlined levels that people can bounce, run, and go through. Like, because if
yeah.
I understand Mario has the water levels, but even with Mario water levels, it's like you just swim forward and go. With Sonic water levels, if you don't get air...
The chemical station, God, that's a brutal one.
There's a lot of stuff like that, and it's like, I feel like with a timer system and everything, it doesn't flow as well, but I think there is very much a way that they could integrate it just by being very selective with their stages.
Yeah.
All right, Gadget, do you want to do your games or shall I?
It's up to you, buddy. Would you rather me go or you go?
You go for it, fam. I believe.
Alrighty. All right, well, the games of the year for me, it's kind of funny. These are games that I had no expectation for, or I actually didn't even really think of that I'd really want to play. Like, the ones that I enjoyed the most would have been like Last of Us 2, which before I heard all the rumors about it and all the hate, and I was like, I'm not going to play that, And I ended up playing it, and I loved it. I had such a blast from beginning to end. That's one of them. Have you guys played that?
Unfortunately, no. I haven't played it. Partially because I've basically seen every spoiler for it at this point, because I kind of got sucked into the controversy of it. But I also haven't played The Last of Us 1. So it's not something that, like, I was like, well, I'm going to play it. But since Naughty Dog is very story based and they kind of like to build off of what they've done in the previous ones, it's why I never really touched The Last of Us 2. And like I said, I saw so much of the stuff, and then I kind of saw the ending, and based on everything that I've seen about it, I'm just kind of like, well, for a story-based game, I don't think it's going to be for me. Maybe actively playing it may be different, but just based on what I read about it and how they presented the narrative and did it back and forth, I can't say that it's something that I want to go and play, and it's like I already know the ending. So it's like,
Yeah.
I played it for about a week or two, I think, and I was absolutely loving it, but I got really busy with uni work at the time. And the way that I am as a person, if I have a week's break from something, the chances of me going back to it just drop drastically. So I played it, I loved it, but then I got really busy and didn't play it for a week, 2 weeks, and then 2 weeks turned into 2 months, and then I just never ended up going back. So
Yeah, well,
it was
with the
good, though.
game, like I kind of, for personally, I didn't really understand the big controversy. Like, is it okay if I spoil the big deal?
I mean,
You know, it's
it's
been out for so long.
yeah, it's been
Everybody
out
should know.
for almost a year at this point. So
All right. Well, like the whole idea of just like Joel dying, and that was like the big end all for people. Like that makes it a great game in my opinion. You know, you want to hunt and get the and go after the person who did that, and then to change into the person who ended up killing him. You know, and playing as that person and seeing why they did it. Phil.
I hope
Rip
he's
Bill.
joking.
And anyway, like being the person and understanding why she ended up doing it, and you end up really caring for this person too. You know, you like at first you hate her, and then you end up understanding why. And you don't see that in video games. You know, it was very unique, and I actually cared about her more than like Ellie, the main character at the end of the game. So that was one of them.
See, and
It's okay, Bill.
that's that's kind of the thing. Well, honestly, like saying you ended up caring about Abby is kind of like the complete opposite of basically, maybe other than Donkey. Like most every single person I've seen, they've been like, like whatever, like they killed Ethan. That or Joel. Sorry, I don't know where the fuck Ethan was in my head. They killed Joel, and it's like, okay, well, I wanted to play the game because I love Joel in the first game. Oh, and now I get to play as a person that killed him. Cool. And then when you finally get to play as Ellie, and if we're going straight into spoiler mode, like you get to the end of the game, and then she goes, I guess I'm not going to do the thing I said I was going to do, and then she just goes away, and it's like, what the whole? As somebody who hasn't played the game and doesn't know the whole narrative, I just look at that and go, character from the first game gets killed. You play as a person. To the best of my knowledge, you play a little bit like before the actual event with Abby, and then kind of go forward from that, and then you switch back to Ellie, and she's like, "I'm going to kill her for this. She's so evil for killing Joel," and then she gets the chance to kill her, and she's like, "I'm just gonna not kill you now," and it's like, what the fuck?
Well, the whole deal is her gonna seek revenge, right, for killing Joel. She learns why Abby did it. You know, Joel killed Abby's dad, and the whole deal was because I guess I'm spoiling Last of Us 1 too. Is Abby was the cure, end all be all for the vaccine, or to end the zombie outbreak or whatever you want to call it. And he was the surgeon doctor, and Joel kind of decided, hey, you're not going to kill her at the way end, and killed her father, killed everybody. And in the game, Ellie learns about that, and she doesn't like Joel because she feels like, hey, I could have saved the world. So, and she does get her revenge. She kills so many of like the people,
Yeah, she does.
So, anyways,
Yeah,
I started
and-
blasting.
Yeah, essentially.
Yeah. And by the time you're at the end, like Donkey said, you just want it to stop. Like, you feel like Abby has gotten her punishment as much as she could, and you just don't want to kill her. And you can see that in Ellie as well. So
Maybe
yeah.
Ellie and Abby found out that both of their mums were named Martha, and they thought, let's not fight
I
anymore.
knew it.
Yeah, probably.
I'll say that's
But yeah, I'd highly recommend that Donkey,
Howdy.
both of his reviews on The Last of Us. I think one was about like him talking about the YouTube comments about
Yes.
The Last of Us 2.
that was so good.
That was really, really good. And I'm pretty much the same way. I view it the same way as he does. But that's not even my game of the year or anything as well. But so besides that one, there is. I did not expect to get a PS5 this year, and 2 games I really loved was Spider-Man Miles Morales and Demon Souls.
Demon Souls, baby.
And those aren't my game of the year either. But man,
Well,
are those a
what a
blast!
tease.
I loved them. I haven't finished Miles Morales yet because it's a little short, and I'm trying to just complete it all, like all the side quests. I really love the original Spider-Man game, so it's just more of that, but you get to be Miles this time.
It's like I love the
Um,
Spider-Man game because it makes me feel like Spider-Man.
Yeah,
I mean, it's true though. It's so good.
Welcome to the Donkey Cast. Donkey like loves to like shit on people whenever they put in a review and they say like it makes you feel like, and it's like I understand why he says that. Like it's just kind of like the most cliche thing to say. It's like, well, of course it makes you feel like Spider-Man. It's a Spider-Man game. But the fact of the matter is, I've played lots of Spider-Man games, and guess what? It never feels like that you're Spider-Man. Like
yeah,
that Spider-Man game was the first time in a very long time where I was like, holy shit! Like I feel like I'm Spider-Man. Like I feel the speed of like zipping around and flipping through the air. And I mean, the combat is basically kind of ripped off of like the Batman Arkham series.
so that's not a bad thing in my
No,
opinion.
it is not. It works so well with Spider-Man, with how quickly he like flips and zips around and everything. Like I think it was so good. I have not yet got to play Miles. That's another one that I'm kind of waiting for it to go on sale, because I have heard that it's basically like a glorified DLC. Um, but Miles is one of my favorite comic book characters. And I've got to play it at some point. I have gone out of my way to not watch people stream it because I'm like, I don't want this game spoiled.
Yeah, you're gonna have a wonderful time with it. I know it's on the PS4 as well, so you can try it that way.
Yep.
With Demon Souls, I played a little bit of the original back in the day on the PS3. I was not a Souls fan at the time. Got my ass handed to me, and yeah, so I moved on. But then here I am, a big Souls fan now. So of course I had to get it right, and that was pretty much the main game I streamed at the beginning of this year. Boy, it was wonderful. At first, I was a little hesitant to really like it because of if you die, your health goes to half and whatnot. No Estus Souls, but I kind of used all the cheap stuff and made it as broken as possible. Where I had a ring that brought my health back to 75%, and then I had armor and a shield that regenerates my health, and then I had like the most OP sword where you can attack someone, and even if they're blocking, it's still gonna hit them. So,
Classic.
yeah, I was as broken as possible, and man, was it fun.
Can you transfer that stuff to my Dark Souls gameplay, please? My game will be easier.
Help him out,
If
Gatch.
only. Yeah, so my main game of the year is one that I did not buy. I was lucky enough to win it via giveaway, and that was Yakuza Like a Dragon. Oh man, it is so damn good. I did not expect. I really like the Yakuza games, but when you hear about it being an RPG turn-based, you're like, oh, that does not sound like it's going to work well. But wow, it really does, and the story is it's a Yakuza game, It's awesome. I can't not say that it's not my game of the year because I did not expect. I didn't even think about wanting to get it, and it just blew my expectations away. So yeah, that's easily my game of the year.
I say that's another one that unfortunately I have not played. I feel like that's probably one of the first Yakuza games you can kind of jump into it a bit blind because it is so vastly different than all the other
Yeah.
ones. Just from what I've seen of it, it kind of looks like, for lack of a better term, like Yakuza Smash Brothers, where they just kind of bring everybody together and just kind of make a crazy game. I have tried everything in my power again not to spoil that one. I have not played any Yakuza games. I played a bit of Kiwami. I think I played like maybe an hour and a half. It's something that I feel like I need to give a more honest try to.
Yeah.
Because I see so much of it and it looks like so much fun, but it's just something that I haven't like sunk my teeth into. But like a dragon, I really want to play simply because it just looks so freaking absurd. There was a fight I saw where I don't know the characters in the game unfortunately, but his party consisted of like a chick in a with a whip that was hitting people. His main character had one of those giant personal massagers that he was using to beat people with. And then the other guy was just like fighting with fists, but they were fighting dudes with sandwich boards on and like some sort of like valet, and then another guy that kind of looked like a prostitute. I said guy that looked like a prostitute. That's the easiest way I can describe it. But it's just like that little fight alone made me be like, this may be a game I need to look into.
Yeah, with this one, it's you do not need to have played the other Yakuza games. You know, you can go in blind with it because it's its own main protagonist. It's a new guy, you know, and like you were talking about with like different gameplay styles of the characters in your team, you can give them different jobs. So then they have different weapons and different play styles for an RPG, and it's just so fun and unique, and it's a blast. And the story is really good. Um, I can't really think of another game that really settles like just the homeless pandemic as well of like being homeless, and it brings a good light to it because that happens in the game, and it's really cool. And yeah, it also has, if you do the American version of the sub, or I mean of the dub, you get to hear George Takei. So that's a win in my book. Yeah. So that is my game of the year. Beano?
I spent some time thinking about this because I played very few games that actually came out last year. So if I was picking my games that I played of 2020, I'd be picking things like Outer Wilds that came out in 2019, or Sekiro. Oh no, Sekiro I played this year. Not Sekiro. Dark Souls Remastered I played last year, but that came out in 2018. So the only things that I really played that came out last year were Cyberpunk, which I'm not going to get into too great a detail now because I'm saving that one for later.
I wonder what one that's going to fall under, huh?
Yeah, I wonder.
Me too.
So Cyberpunk I played. The Last of Us 2, like I said, I played a bit of. And the only other thing that came to mind that I played that came out last year, and as such is my game of last year, is Animal Crossing New Horizons. It is so wholesome of a game. I used it a lot because I got that when I was still studying. And if you're having a shit day, you just get into bed, put some lo-fi on, and just sell your soul to Tom Nook so he can upgrade your house. And it is such a nice, relaxing time compared to a lot of other stuff that I was playing at the time. So that is far and away my game of the year, Animal Crossing New Horizons.
Oh, it's funny you say that. Like, for whatever reason, that didn't even pop in my head. Like, I must have, because I literally looked through a couple of different, like, games released in 2020. I didn't even see Animal Crossing on there. No, Animal Crossing definitely was a vibe. This was the first one that I dove into far more. New Leaf was the first one I played. I think that was the 3DS one. So I had a little bit of that I want to play Animal Crossing vibe, and when I saw the New Horizons stuff, like it's your own island and like that tropical theme, and I just was like, okay, this looks like big fun. Like I think this is something that I got to get in. Apparently it was good because I ended up buying my boss's Switch so that my wife could have a Switch and I could have a Switch, and we both had our own copies of Animal Crossing so we could play with each other. I kind of faded off of it. It's one of those games that I enjoy going into from time to time. If they did more content quicker, I think I would have hung around quicker. But because the content is so based on seasons, it's harder for me to like stick with it, because Animal Crossing for me quickly goes from like, oh, I'm having fun managing this island and doing stuff, to, oh, I just got home from work, now I'm doing more work. Like
It do be like that though.
it kind of falls in that same vein of stuff like, I know it's technically different, but I feel like it still falls in the same vein of things like Harvest Moon and Stardew Valley. Like, for lack of a better term, life simulator type of game, perhaps. But what time I did spend with it, I really enjoyed it. And it was time very well spent, because, like I said, my wife and I, even before we got the second copy, because you can play it with 4 players on one Switch. Like, we just had a blast running around the island and doing stuff. So no, I could definitely see Animal Crossing falling very well into that game of the year. I think it was also like the fastest or best-selling Switch game at that time.
Oh, I'd believe that 100%. It was huge when it first came out.
Yeah, like I really can't comment much on Animal Crossing because I haven't played it, but I think it came out at the perfect time, right?
Oh yeah,
the
it came
pandemic
out,
just
yep,
started.
peak
People,
COVID.
yeah, and it was a great way for people just to live a life again, if it's just virtual or not. And that kind of started off the big boom of the multiplayer type of games, like for Twitch wise, that I can remember, right?
I mean, Animal Crossing definitely opened doors for people. I think because it has, I don't want to say, it's not the first game in the Animal Crossing series for multiplayer. I know you could do it with the 3DS one. I don't know about, like, I'm assuming you probably can with the Wii, and if there was a Wii U one, I honestly can't remember if there were Wii and Wii U ones. I think there was a Wii one, but that's aside from the point. But with the New Horizons, it definitely blew up on Twitch for a while, and there were so many people, and there still are a lot of people that they leave their Switch friend code on there, or they put their island code on there, so people can just like come and go and hang out. Probably one of the best things I've seen, and I wish I would have noted it if I knew we were going to talk about New Horizons. There is literally a Twitch channel that does Animal Crossing talk show. They literally have built a talk show set in the game, and they have on guests, and they talk to them and do like literally a talk show. I found it.
So good.
I found it on accident
great.
once. I follow Weird Al on Instagram. Weird Al Yankovic, for those who don't know, you should by this point, I would imagine. But he actually put on there like, "Hey, I'll be on, tonight on Animal Crossing or whatever." Like I said, I wish I could give this person the due credit they deserve. But the fact that they're having on like celebrity guests and on a like Tonight Show set in Animal Crossing, like you can do so much with this game. It's so bizarre, and people are so creative to do stuff like that, to literally like make a talk show and then stream said talk show on Twitch.
So yeah.
So damn.
So
So
before we go into our next segment, because Beano kind of said something that I had been kind of tossing around, like kind of throwing out there, but now that Beano has said it, like it's like I feel like we may as well just like let's just go into it. Like, what was your favorite game you played last year that wasn't a 2020 release? Um, for me, I played so many random games last year. You know, because really kicking off my streaming, like I'm closing in on 1 year on Twitch if I haven't already. Like I know I'm closing in on a year in affiliate. So I know I've played a whole bunch of stuff. Um, but I think for me, oddly enough, I think my favorite game that I played last year was Final Fantasy IV.
Ooh.
It I finally finished a game that I started as a kid, uh, and I loved play and I loved Devalroth immediately with the A. I loved having, you know, it was a very intimate playthrough. Like it was at the intimacy or the infancy of my channel. Um, like I literally made Cecil like one of my first emotes because I didn't know what the hell to do with my channel yet. But it was I finally got to beat the game. The thing that made me mad is I should have beat the game when I was a kid. I discovered I was literally like 2 screens from the end of the game when I was a kid, but I never got to finish it. So being able to finish a childhood game uh, was definitely like top tier. And it has made me want to go and play some other games that I played as a lad that I never finished, like Final Fantasy V, Final Fantasy VI, Secret of Mana. There's a lot of these games. Super Mario RPG. There's a lot of these older games that like I got towards the end, but I never beat. So Final Fantasy IV/2 in America really kind of rekindled that I need to revisit these games and beat them. So for me, my not 2020 game of the year was Final Fantasy IV.
Yeah, with mine, it would have to be Dead by Daylight, just because it was a game that I started streaming. I started playing again because I met Moon and Leenda, and we all started playing that together and had a wonderful time. And that's kind of what really got me starting off to the races on Twitch. That was my main game for like just months and months and months. People thought I was just a Dead by Daylight streamer, and boy, was it fun! And it's still fun playing with Beano and Taco and everybody else on multi-stream Fridays when we still get to do it. So it still goes on, you know. Um, it's it just has a lot of, like I said, memories for me. Just being able to play with everyone that and make friendships from that game that it did, you know. If it wasn't for Dead by Daylight, I wouldn't have met Moon and gotten to make what it is today happen. So yeah.
I just want to, before we jump into you, Bino,
Yes.
I swear to you, before we jump into you,
Oh my.
uh, it's a random bill says his not 2020 game of the year is Rocket League, because honestly the game is sold at this point, but is the only game I go back to no matter what else I am playing, as he's literally playing it right now and listening to us.
Yep.
But for me, depending on how the rest of the year goes, uh, Mario Odyssey might win this fight. But as of right now, Rocket League might be my not 2021 game of the year. I've only gotten to play it a handful of times, but it's been these ridiculous late night gaming sessions, and
Oh yeah.
it's it has been just ridiculously fun every single time. And I don't know how much of it is because Rocket League is just this ridiculous game to play, or how much of it is gaming with the boys. But it's just one of those, like, just it's so good. It's so good.
I think Rocket League is always going to be in the talks for my not this year game of this year. It's the only I've never played a game for as long as I have played Rocket League, except for maybe DayZ, maybe, but I took a pretty big hiatus from that. I've only recently got back into it. But Rocket League, I got it when it came out on the PS4 because it was free with PS Plus when it launched. And I've played it at least a couple of nights a week, almost every week since then, and I'm still bad. So it's always going to be in the talks, but my not 2020 game of 2020 was Outer Wilds. No contest. Outer Wilds, everybody go and play it. It is unreal. My brain shit every pair of pants that it has ever worn. It is just a phenomenal game. It's wholesome, relaxing content. Your brain will freak out. And it is just an all-round good time.
You mean Outer Worlds, Beano?
No.
No, I mean Outer Wilds.
I know.
No, none of this crap. No, thank you. Outer Wilds.
He'd get that every time he would be streaming Outer Wilds. Is this the Outer Worlds? You mean you're playing that?
I was getting that while I was streaming it. I was like, what's this game that I'm playing again? Is it Outer Worlds or is it Outer Wilds?
See, I thought I'd see. See, I didn't see you play that game, so like I have no like insight into it. But I thought there might have been a very strong chance that Sekiro might have been your not game of the year.
I was thinking it was going to be Dark Souls Remastered.
They're both up there. Sekiro, technically, I played this year, so it could be my this year, not game of this year.
Oh, okay. I got you.
I started that after New Year's. That was the first game I streamed of this year, so that was up there. Dark Souls is also up there, but I think if I wasn't streaming that, I don't know if I'd have had as much fun with that, because a lot of my experience was hanging out with you guys while I was doing it. So
yeah,
that one is probably Outer Wilds up here, and then Dark Souls just below that, and then probably Rocket League, more or less neck and neck with Dark Souls.
You know what's funny is all the games of the year that I chose is games that I did not stream. I just noticed that. Yeah.
Well,
but then the game that I said that was not from this year is the one that I streamed the most.
Well, you play. I mean, I think we all play video games a little differently. I'm finding for me, if I'm not streaming a game, I'm most likely playing something with my friends. I'm not really getting into like single player gaming much anymore. Maybe that'll change with my new job. But I find with trying to dedicate as much as I can into my channel, and now working on some side stuff with the podcast, I'm finding that, like I said, a majority of my game time is now literally streaming. So I don't really have. I mean, I do have an opportunity. It's just about how I want to spend my time, and I just do it on other things. But no, you definitely seem to be a far more avid like offline gamer, and then you kind of just like stream what you want to stream, and that's like I said, everybody plays differently.
Yeah, since I've started streaming, I've sort of stopped gaming in my own time, especially when I was still studying, because I'd devote 3 hours of my study schedule to playing games. So then playing more games on top of that, it just sort of stopped. So the only thing that really continued was Rocket League of a night time with my brother and my mates. Everything else, like all the single player stuff, sort of got put on the back burner because I was streaming single player games already. So streaming games just sort of became game time.
Yeah.
So that's just sort of how it is these. I'm starting to get back into it more now that I'm not studying. Like I've been playing DayZ and Binding of Isaac and all this other crap, but streaming is more or less just game time now.
Nope, that's understandable. If we don't have anything else to discuss as far as faves of 2020 and whatnot, do we want to jump into our worst of 2020? Is a very bold statement. For me, it's more going to be disappointing games of 2020. I don't think either of the games that I played were technically bad.
Then you got lucky.
Well, when you're also a broke ass busta like me and you don't buy a lot of games, like it narrows down how much you actually play. So I'll get mine out of the way real quick. The two most disappointing games for me from last year that I got, especially since I was very excited to get both of them, were Paper Mario: The Origami King and Puyo Puyo Tetris 2.
Wow.
Puyo
Those
Puyo
are
Tetris.
games you just played tons of, and you just finished too.
Yep.
Did not see
And
that
Wow.
coming.
I
I did
was
not.
ecstatic to finally finish Paper Mario. I mean, I feel like for as long as I played it, and then the ending you get, it's just that was disappointing. Probably the biggest disappointment from that game, and is really what kind of made the game not as enjoyable as I hoped it would be. Was the combat system. That weird puzzle turntable combat system just it made fighting just I don't want to do it. Like just get me to a boss fight. Every fight in between is not something that because you don't level up in that game. You don't equip stuff that like it is the most bare bones of a role playing game I think I've ever played. Um, and it was my first experience with well, other than Super Mario RPG, it was my first experience with the Paper Mario series, and
Oh, that's sad.
I'm not going to let that taint like my view of the series because I know the earlier games are vastly different. They're more turn based. They're more like traditional RPG. So I do want to go back and give the older Paper Mario games like a legitimate try. And I know I'm saying a lot of bad things about the Origami King, but to be 100% honest with you, like if it was not for the combat, if it had had a traditional turn-based combat, even if it was like a rock paper scissors type of combat, just because you get the volumental, so like you have to do different things for the fights where you have to use fire or water or whatever. Like I would have been okay with that. Like I it would have been closer to like a Pokemon type of deal, and I would have been okay with that. But the game was beautiful. It had fantastic music. The writing was there. It had literal moments that made me laugh, and I loved all the characters that were in the game. They were very endearing. By the end of the game, like I loved Olivia. It was this little origami girl, and I ended up really loving that character, which is why like by the end of it, I was like. I almost cried at the end of the game because of what happened to her, and I just was like, "Oh, I loved this character." But at the same time, like you finally win, and then you get the ending, and it's like, "Wait, I just did all this, and this is the ending I get. Like this is it. Like, oh." Um,
Oof.
but I mean, Paper Mario: The Origami King. If you can get past the combat, if you can kind of like look past it. Somebody else might love the puzzle combat. Somebody else might be like, "Oh, I love puzzle type games, so I love that aspect," which I do love puzzle games. But when I'm playing an RPG, like I'm an old man. Give me my old turn based, or give me something like Secret of Mana, where I can kind of run around, smack something, and then come back. I mean, that's me. Like the weird circle puzzle thing just did not hit on any cylinders for me. Um, and then as
You
far
know what's
as
funny though is both of these games you chose were, if I can be honest, the games that I really disliked watching you play. I don't know if it's because you didn't like them, and maybe it brushed off that way. But God, the combat and everything of Mario was just so boring to me. And God, it was as a viewer, like I was. Luckily, you're entertaining, because there's not much else to go off of with that one. And with Puyo Puyo, it's just like it was hard because for stream wise, you're so uh, concentrated on that game, so it's hard to keep up with chat and interact. So those are both of those are the
yeah,
ones that was rough to watch
yeah,
for the reasons.
my problem with Puyo Puyo Tetris 2, um, I was very excited for it because I really did enjoy the first Puyo Puyo Tetris. I streamed it when I was streaming on YouTube, and I enjoyed the quirky story. I enjoyed the quirky characters, but playing the second one, it literally kind of felt like they took the story from the first game and did it again, and it just was like, this doesn't feel any different. Like, this feels like we're literally doing the exact same thing. And I know that looking at a puzzle game and a story in a puzzle game is already going to be kind of like difficult to do. But it just was like, I had such high hopes for it. And honestly, like, if you own Puyo Puyo Tetris, there's almost no reason to get the sequel. The only thing they really add in the sequel is the story mode, which is what I said, which is what I was really looking forward to. Playing the game, I don't really remember there being any new modes. I don't really remember there being anything very drastically different as far as like actual gameplay. So once I got done with story mode, it's just kind of like, oh well, I have this game in the other game. Like, it's not different. It's literally all the same. With that being said, it's I still very much enjoy it because I like the mix up of the puzzle games. I kind of like trying new things in the puzzle genre because I feel like a lot of it is like match 3 or stack or, you know, real. I've never played a lot of like outside of that. So I enjoyed the whole like switching back and forth. That's probably my favorite variation on the game, is when like you have a Puyo Puyo screen and then it switches to Tetris and then it's like it keeps going back and forth. That I really enjoy. Otherwise, I'm just all about playing Tetris. Like, I can't get into Puyo Puyo by itself. I can't. My brain is not big enough to comprehend how to properly do the combos in that game. Very smooth brained, unfortunately. But Tetris, I can just sit there and hit the Tetris effect zone and just zone out so hard to it. And it's I love when I'm playing it because everybody's like, this watching you is giving me anxiety. It's just like
100%.
But I've been playing Tetris. Tetris was the first game I had on my Game Boy, because Tetris came with the original Game Boy. So when I only had one game, it was Tetris, and I played that over and over and over again. So it's Tetris will always be near and dear to my heart. But yeah, like I said, I don't have as much in the like poo poo. Neither of those games were like trash. Neither of them were like bad games in the sense of like glitchy or broken or anything like that. They just didn't live up to my expectations. I think that's the easiest way to put it. They didn't live up to my expectations.
All right, well, I guess I'll go next, but before we do, I got to remember that one of the questions I definitely want to ask us is, what games did we like? What game did you watching? And vice versa, but
I think I got it. I think he said, what game did you not like watching the other people play?
Did you enjoy watching the most?
Oh, did you enjoy watching the most? You broke up really bad. I didn't.
Oh, sorry. Yeah. So yeah, I just want to remember that, since Nightwolf brought that up, saying games that he enjoyed watching us play. I thought that would be a cool Q&A question.
Okay, we'll come back to that then.
All right. So worst games of 2020 for me. It's easy. These were two games I was most excited for of the whole year, and both that I pre-ordered, and I never pre-order games. So the number one, the first one would be, since they've launched out in time, would be Marvel's Avengers. Would be the first one. This was a game I was super excited for. I thought, hey, I really loved the Spider-Man game, and I thought it was going to be more like that. And then I hear it's going to be online, and I'm going to have a blast. And like Dork Chop's getting it, Leyenda's getting it. We're all going to get to play together. It'll be a perfect time. And man, was it a letdown. The story was awful. It was just a bunch of, you fight AIM scientists nonstop and AIM soldiers. That's all. And, robots. and to have so many amazing villains and whatnot to have in an Avengers game and not to have them present, it was just such a put off, and the characters, it was all right. They kind of felt a little unique. Like, I really liked playing Iron Man the most. He was more of a flying and defensive type zoning, but uh, the story was bad. The grinding, it had the Destiny looter shooter feel, but you just could not get good gear for the life of you. You'd have to keep playing nonstop and nonstop for missions, and it was not a good time.
Yeah, I also heard that at least around release that the game had a lot of bugs and some game breaking bugs and stuff. And to be 100% honest with you, like, I was very excited when I saw there was an Avengers game, like the initial thing of it. When they were showing it, I was like, oh, that's so cool, an Avengers game. Like, I'm down for that. And then when it said it was coming from Square Enix, I was like, I'm a little. I'm already concerned about what this game is going to be, and I know a lot of people were like, "Oh, it's okay, they have the studio that's making the Tomb Raider games, and those games are pretty good, so like we can expect a lot of stuff out of this game." And I watched a handful of people play that game, and it I feel like they had to do some sort of original story. I don't know what like you said, the story is basically go around and beat up AIM bad guys. Like that kind of sucks.
Yeah, and MODOK.
But to me, what little of it I kind of watched, it kind of felt like we're going to shove Kamala Harris or Kamala Khan. Sorry, Kamala Harris is our vice president. Kamala Khan, Miss Marvel, like into this game, and it was just like, why? Like, I understand, like, they're trying to include more characters from the Marvel universe and stuff, but I feel like if you're building off the hype of the Marvel Cinematic Universe and how much steam the Avengers storyline has really gained, like, just kind of throwing in a completely, I mean, there's completely just like, it's a no name character, and I know that sounds kind of mean, but I mean, at the end of the day, like, if I say, oh hey, Kamala Khan, is she your favorite Miss Marvel? First, most people are going to be like, I don't really know who Miss Marvel is. Like, I don't mean to throw shade at Miss Marvel, but it is what it is. It's kind of the same thing for Captain Marvel. I think most people would be like, oh yeah, isn't that Brie Larson or whatever? But like, people aren't really going to know the character that well, and she's only been a character for a handful of years. So like, it just felt weird that all the things they showed was like, this is the Avengers, and then as soon as the game starts, you're a like 14-year-old girl who won a thing to go be near the, and I just was like, this is very odd. Like, this is a strange choice you made.
But yeah, I think the big issue is, and it still is, it's still just AIM soldiers and scientists, even with all the DLC. And it's really weird that for the DLC they chose to give you Hawk Girl or Hawkeye, two Hawkeyes, right? You get the lady version and the guy version, and it's still just, you're still fighting AIM scientists and robots. There's the only villains you actually get to fight are Taskmaster and MODOK. And I think maybe Annihilation for like one brief moment, but considering how many amazing villains you could put in different types of villains, not just like AIM scientists and robots nonstop. This is what you get, and it's just the whole game. And that's the biggest disappointment of all, in my opinion, because you could bring obscure heroes like Miss Marvel and make her cool, but you kind of need a good villain and whatnot as well to make it not just doing the same shit over and over. Like, you can only fight a scientist so many times, but that's the whole game. Yeah.
Classic. Beat up Scientist Simulator 2020.
Yeah, and there's so many awesome villains and whatnot they could have put in, and it's just sad that they still haven't done it either. Because I know the Hawkeye, he just came out, and it's still just AIM Scientist. So they're still not bringing anything in. So yeah, so that was my first one, and the second one, which I'm sure Beano is going to talk about too, is another one that I pre-ordered and I was so excited for, and it was Cyberpunk.
Yeah, I figured at least one of you was going to talk about this one. It's like, honestly, I haven't played it, so we'll just let the Cyberpunk 2077 shitpost segment of the podcast begin now. You guys, please have at it.
Okay, well, it's funny because I loved the Witcher games so much, so I was like super hyped for Cyberpunk. And then you hear Keanu Reeves on board, hey, that's awesome, you know? And honestly, I've only played probably 4 hours of it. Like maybe tops 8. I have not put a lot of time into that game. And luckily, I had a next gen console for it, and it worked fine. I didn't have any of those big issues, but it was just so boring. And I remember texting or talking to Beano on Discord all the time, and just being like, man, I don't know about this one. I'm not really feeling it. I'm kind of bored. It's just kind of boring because initially it was getting a lot of hype from everyone. Like, at least on our community. I remember Dork really liking it, and Sam really liked it. Leanda was okay with it. And I was just like, oh, I really like the driving. Like, I have fun driving around in the game. That's about it. I didn't enjoy the combat. I didn't care for the story at all. Yeah, that's really about all I can say about it because I have not put many hours in it, and it's such a disappointment to me because I think about like how many hours and how much fun I've had with the Witcher series, and it's sad that Cyberpunk couldn't have been the same.
Yeah, I got Cyberpunk. I wasn't going to. I was sort of like, I was like, yeah, it looks pretty cool, but you know, it's $120 or whatever it was, Australian, $90, whatever it was. And I was hanging out in one of Keffy's streams one day, and Bill was actually saying, yo, this game's really good. And I was like, is it now? Yes, is it? So then I just like, you know what, bugger it, I'll just buy it. And I just checked my Steam, and I've played it for 33.3 hours apparently, which is a lot more than I thought I did. And it was okay. Like, it wasn't, I didn't have any of the game breaking bugs that a lot of people seemed to get. Most of my bad glitches that I got were just like texture pop-ins, or there was one where the foliage on plants was the most visible layer in front of everything. So you're flying around a building in a helicopter, and all you can see is just the plants on the outside of the building. It's fine, Bill. It's too little, too late. It's fine. I mean, like, yeah, it wasn't the worst game. Like, it was playable, but compared to the hype that it got from a lot of people, it was just a letdown. And like I did with The Last of Us, like I mentioned, I just sort of stopped playing it one day and just never went back to it. So I think I really hope that CD Projekt Red sticks with it, because I think if they put more time into it, and if people keep playing it and don't completely just throw it in the bin, in 6 months' time, 12 months' time, it has the potential to be what it should have been. So I really hope that they don't just get rid of it, because I think it could be cool one day.
I think the biggest bane of that game, also being the one person who has not played it, from the outside in now, I'm just like, I'm glad I held on to my $60. I'm glad I never jumped on that hype train. But I think honestly, the biggest downfall for it was its 9 years of production, 8 or 9. I mean, this game has been, you know, like you said, it's coming from CD Projekt Red. They're coming off The Witcher 3, which, you know, is getting ported again and again and again, and it's successful every time it's ported again and again and again. You know, it's a very good game. And I
And
think
then the show came out too.
yeah,
You know, the Witcher show.
and I think a lot of people were going into that being like, this is the quality we've received. So if they're working this long on it and they're hyping it up this much, like it's got to be good. How could it not be good? And I know a lot of people like it's a very double edged sword. I think a lot of people have just finally were just like, we want this game, and I think they released the game, and it wasn't ready. It was not ready. But honestly, at this point, like that game was never going to be ready. Like how long could they develop this game before it would finally come out and people would just be like, "Oh, it's been 11 years. Now we finally got the game," and it's like I said, for me, I'm kind of glad I never jumped on the hype train. I do like the whole cyberpunk aesthetic. Like I like Blade Runner and things like that. So I mean,
Deus Ex is great if you want to play one of those types of games. I'd highly recommend those ones.
I think I have one on the PS4. I can't remember which one it is though. But there's like the aesthetic of it is interesting, but it's for me the other thing, because especially when you said the combat, the other thing I think when they finally were like, it's gonna be first person and that's it. I think that was another thing that really killed it for a lot of people, because so many people were going into it with the idea that like it's going to be The Witcher 3. You know, we're going to be able to have like this cool combat and all this stuff. And instead and this is kind of what keeps me away from the Elder Scroll games. Like the third person things of that is like kind of hot garbage to try and play with, but it's that first person combat, and I can't get into first person combat. It looks goofy, it doesn't feel right. It's like cuz you're a walking pair of hands and then you're just like flipping and flailing, and it's like you don't feel like you're doing anything, and it's so for me, thankfully, it was my thankful I didn't purchase game of 2020. But I mean, you're 100% right. There's a lot of people who have enjoyed it. There's a lot of people who've really dove into it, enjoyed all of the nonsense of it. I know Dork Chop was also really enjoying trying to find as many exploits in that game that he could, because there is just so much unpolished stuff in that game that he just kept trying to find more and more broken out of bounds areas and stuff like that. But it's like I watched him stream it for like maybe an hour or so once, and in that hour there were so many random pop-ins and characters walking through stuff, and it just was like, how do you make this game? Like, he called his car and his car just spawned inside of another car, and the car like vibrated out of existence, and it just was like, 9 years, huh? All right, good job, guys.
It was
Two things
J-Bolt
about it too.
Playthroughs as well. I think it was J-Bolt did playthrough.
Yeah, I was going to bring that up.
Yep, he enjoyed the hell out of it.
Addicted to it, and it's just so strange because, like, I was just talking to Beano, and like it was just me and him, and it seemed like we were the only ones who just did not understand, like, why everybody was loving it. You know, it was just so boring, and here's people, playing it for like all week and 5 times nonstop different builds, and it's just I just did not understand it.
Yeah, I think I got hooked on it for the first 3 or 4 hours maybe, and then from that point the magic just wore off.
The other thing is you brought up about like the combat and whatnot, and it's like another disappointing thing for it to me is you can't really have that many different builds. Like I wanted to go for a stealthy type of guy with hacking and being very persuasive with the speech, and you can't really do the game. It really just ends up you having to pull up your strength build and just shoot stuff. It won't get you that far to be like a hacker and all that stuff. So yeah.
Rip Cyberpunk. F for Cyberpunk 2020.
So Beano, you go ahead on yours, I guess, unless you want to keep talking about Cyberpunk too, because I know that's one on there.
Cyberpunk was my worst of 2020. I mean, out of the 3 games or so that I played last year that came out in 2020, Animal Crossing, The Last of Us 2, Cyberpunk. It is not a contest for which of those 3 is the worst.
Definitely so.
So, I mean, yeah, like I said, I really hope that they stick with it because I think the world that they built is really cool. It's just a shame that the stuff that's in that world didn't work,
Yeah.
which is unfortunate. So, hopefully they stick with it, but I wouldn't be surprised if they didn't. But I hope they do. And I think if people in a year's time can get it on sale, then I think the potential is there for it to be good.
Well, first,
somewhere hidden underneath a bunch of textures.
First they have to fix the game so that PlayStation will even put it back in their store.
True.
I mean,
very true.
That's one of the first times I think I have ever seen a game literally get pulled from the store because it was so broken and people just immediately wanted refunds. And I'm more speaking specifically of the PS4 and Xbox One versions, which were apparently just so poorly optimized that the PlayStation was like, we're getting people who want refunds. We're pulling it. Like, we're done. We're not going to keep selling this game.
The only thing that I
part
remember...
is I don't think it's going to help much because even if you fix what's broken and the bugs, it's still just a boring game. Like, there's not much to make you want to keep playing, in my opinion. Like, the story is just not there. Especially early game, like after you get the Brucey stuff done, I have no reason to go back and play it because it's all boring.
The only thing that I remember being that bad at launch was No Man's Sky when it first came out on the PS4.
Oh, Lord.
And I don't even think it ended up having refunds, did it? I know there was talk of lawsuits, but I don't remember anything actually having refunds given out by the developers like what happened with Cyberpunk.
I know Friday the 13th did it first when that one launched. At least I remember people doing that on the Xbox version. A lot of refunds were happening. That was a broken mess.
I'll say I'm pretty sure and I could be wrong, but it's like I'm pretty sure the Steam version of No Man's Sky is kind of what made Steam have to like redo their refund policy because so many people got that game and the guy was like, you're going to be able to explore universes and planets and it's massively multiplayer and it's going to be all these things, and then the game comes out and it's like, you know all that stuff that we said was going to be in the game? That was a lie. I think most of that stuff is actually implemented now, but...
It is now. It's a completely different game. Apparently it's a lot of fun.
It's something I've thought about dipping my toe into because it is so vastly different now, but it's another one of those games where it's like I'm waiting for a deep discount on it. I see it for like $25 and I'm like, it's still a bit much for me. I'll wait a little bit longer.
Game Pass.
Yeah, I was going to say, if it's not anymore, it was on Game Pass.
Oh, true. I haven't actually looked there. I've probably looked over it, I don't know how many times, but yeah, it probably is in there.
I streamed it once, and every time I changed the scene on my stream deck, it would crash. So that was it. I played it for like half an hour and restarted everything twice, and I was like, "This is stupid."
Quality.
I don't know why is this a thing.
That's
what I hope. That's what I hope Cyberpunk does. Is what No Man's Sky did from then to now. I hope Cyberpunk does a similar thing.
Maybe. I mean, maybe they could make some crazy good DLC, or maybe. I mean, the game needs polish still. It still needs the good old spit shine to get going. A little WD-40, whatever you got to say. It needs something. Because I mean, even at its most optimized on PC, I guess it's still not a very polished game. So it's.
By Gadget.
Well, by Gadget. I feel like the possibility of a really good game is there. I feel like with how poorly / amazing it did, I don't really know how to describe it. I feel like there may be room for a 2078. I don't know how you would want to call it 2077 2, but I mean I could see them maybe learning from all of their mistakes and making a better game. I don't know. I just feel like it would kind of be a shame if this game didn't perform as well as they hoped and they just completely just never revisit the cyberpunk aesthetic, because I don't feel like cyberpunk necessarily gets the love it deserves as far as like video games. Like we get so much like modern day and high fantasy and
Yeah.
you know, modern combat and stuff like that. Like we don't often get a lot of really good cyberpunk, or if we do, it's almost all point and click adventures or small RPGs or, you know, things like that. So hopefully they can do some sort of recoup from this and go forward with a franchise that's going to work. But I don't know.
What I think they should do is, and I'm not sure if they killed off the idea or not, was the multiplayer. I wonder if they could make it like a GTA Online type of deal, where it brings a new life to it, you know, and have its own multiplayer type stories and just different activities that you could do, in like a GTA Online type of deal. I think maybe that has a better chance of succeeding, but I don't know if they killed off that idea or not, because I know that was supposed to happen, but it definitely hasn't yet.
Last I heard, they were still working on it, but they were fixing the single player before they made other stuff. But that was a long time ago that I was reading about that. So God knows what's happening now.
I feel like they need to fix the other stuff before they even try and go into getting more than one person on a map at a time.
Yep.
Yeah.
Beano, was there anything else, or was this just the 2077 is poo poo podcast?
Just shit on Cyberpunk. That's it. That's all I've got.
That sounds about right.
All right. So are we going to the Beano segment?
That's what I was going to ask. But do we want to go into what is our Beano segment this week?
I have some show and tell for you all.
Oh, here we go.
I'm gonna extricate it from its prison. We've got a Goonsack, boys and girls. We've got it's a half full, mostly empty Goonsack. So when we're talking about Goonsacks and Goonstravaganzas, this is the Goonsack. So in here there is some shitty wine that I won't be sampling for you because I found this in my kitchen and the best before date is nearly 3 years ago.
Oh.
It's wine. It ages. It's fine.
I will not be drinking. I will not be drinking the Goon. Feel like I can smell it, Bill. Yeah, I don't even want to know. So this is an upmarket Goon. This 2 liter Goonsack will run you like $40-50. But the Goonsacks that most people get are, you know, like $12 and have 30 standard drinks in them. So you're looking like 40 cents per drink.
Good Lord.
So if you are underage and you get invited to a party and you want to get absolutely munted and spend no money, you send your older friend to go and buy you a Goonsack. And that is it. So if you're playing Goon of Fortune, you peg this onto your Hills hoist and you spin it, and then it lands on you and you just chug out of the little Goonsack nipple there. Goons, everybody.
I love it. I love that. For those of you who might be listening, because it's literally just bagged wine. It's boxed. It's boxed wine, and you just take the freaking bag out, and then you go to town, baby. And it's known in the wonderful world down under as the Goonsack.
Yeah.
Goon of Fortune, Bill. There's a teams variant that I've never played where if you spin your Hills hoist and it lands on you, you drink until your teammate does some task. So it might be sing the first verse of Land Down Under, or it might be run 2 laps of the backyard or something, and you have to just drink until that task is done. And the way that Goon of Fortune works is the last person to vomit wins. I have played Goon of Fortune once in my life. I did not win. Never again am I playing Goon of Fortune. Sacred in my culture, Goon of Fortune.
I personally, like I love that we finally got to see at least an actual goon. I'm sad that it was on. I mean, granted, this is a shared stream. This is a shared stream, but I feel sad that the first time we see a goon is not on a Beano stream, but over here.
If I ever get off my ass and get around to doing the Goon Stravaganza, this is what we'll have. Not this expensive 3-year-old one, but this is what it'll be. Goonsack. If/when.
I look forward to that so much. I mean, I not that I want to get into the habit of having drunk Adam streams. That is not, something that I necessarily.
It's a good time though.
It was a good time. Don't get me wrong. Like they're good times, but it's not something that I'm like. I want to like once a week. Like I don't need to get that plastered that often. But if on special occasions, we'll bust out the Long Island iced tea. And maybe next time it'll be the whole bottle instead of only 3/4 of it. Let's go real crazy.
I believe.
Anything else for our Beano segment today?
No, I think that's it. Little lesson on the history of the goon.
No, that I'm 100% okay with that. We're kind of speeding through today, and I like it. We're at 2 hours, so that's pretty good. We're having a much better pace today.
Definitely so.
So going into our third segment of the day, it's going to be our 2021 games we need or are very much looking forward to. I'll start. I feel like we might have some crossover. I originally had Pokemon Diamond and Pearl remake on here, but I feel like we went pretty deep into that in the first episode. I also have Pokemon Snap on here. Like that's another one that I feel like we covered pretty well. They're definitely up there though as far as games I'm looking forward to for the year. One that I discovered whilst looking at upcoming games, it's technically already out. It got an early release. Was Record of Lodoss War, Deedlit in Wonder Labyrinth. And
that's a mouthful.
It's something. So Record of Lodoss War is like an old ass anime, and I've only seen bits and pieces of it because it's like this thing that they used to show on the Sci-Fi Channel. They used to have Saturday Japanimation, and it had like 2 parts, but they never finished the whole story. And I fell in love with it. It's a high fantasy type of deal where it's like the party's almost like a Dungeons and Dragons type party, but it looks really, really, really cool. I love the animation style, but I've never got to see anything with it. But now I see on Steam this game coming out around one of the elf characters. I was like, oh, I need to look into this game. And then I find out that this game is a Metroidvania. And I'm like, ooh. So it's based on a property that I love. And it's a Metroidvania. It's only like $13. I haven't bit the bullet on it yet because apparently, like I said, it's an early access game. And supposedly it's really, really good. I've only seen a couple of negative reviews for it. But it's super short. They're literally making the game while it's out. So I'm kind of putting that on the back burner. I don't want to forget about it because I do want to play it. Because like I said, you give me a Metroidvania, I'm probably going to jump on it. Like there's so many that I want to play and just haven't. And that kind of brings me to my next one. I'm always looking for more roguelikes that I really want to play. So I'm very, I really love... I love the Enter the Gungeon. I think Exit the Gungeon just came out recently, so it's another one I want to like look into. But coming out very, very, very shortly, and I'm gonna have to bite the bullet on it, is The Binding of Isaac Repentance. And I have been dying for more Binding of Isaac content. And the fact that like I'm just going through Steam one day and here it is. Here's the DLC. Now, I have the very original Binding of Isaac, so I'm going to have to like buy Rebirth and all of that nonsense. But I am 100% okay with dropping the money on it and just being like, please give me the content that I want, because they're just not bringing that same content out on like the consoles. Like I still want to pick up the Switch version of, I think it's Binding of Isaac Rebirth Plus or whatever that's on the Switch. because I want to be able to play Binding of Isaac everywhere I go, because I'm that kind of person. But I am so hyped for Repentance. I still know nothing about it other than like what little screenshots, but it looks like there's new bosses, there's new weapons, there's new enemies, there's new dungeon types, I think, from what I've seen. So like I am very excited to lose hundreds of hours of my life to a game about a little boy and his mommy that wants to kill him. I think, and maybe I'm talking out of turn, but I feel like the next three, probably all three of us might to an extent be like, yes, this is game I want. Resident Evil Village.
Yes.
Yep.
Aliens Fireteam.
Yes.
And
Yep.
Back 4 Blood.
Yes.
Yes.
That's the Left 4 Dead one.
I'd say
Those are all ones I want to play on stream.
like when I posted the list of games I was looking forward to, I wanted to see if anybody else wanted to post the stuff they were looking forward to, but I figured like almost without question, Resident Evil 8/Village, Back 4 Blood, and Aliens Fireteam were probably all going to be on our radar for games that we were really looking forward to. I loved Resident Evil 7 or Biohazard, whatever you want to call it.
I have not finished that one yet.
I love that game very much because it finally returned to Resident Evil spooky. It's not just Resident Evil is shoot things and run around. But it's other than the latter half of the game, like the very end of the game, I didn't care for. But as a whole, I loved Resident Evil 7. So I love the fact that the character is returning for Resident Evil Village. I look forward, as much as I said I hate the first person combat in games, for whatever reason, first person just works so well with Resident Evil. I think it's because you don't have that camera to spin around and look. Like, you get scared by things, and I love how well first person works for it. And, I mean, at this point, I think everybody knows we're all looking forward to Big Mommy Milker's Vampire Lady. I don't think that's even, like, a question. I think the thing that I'm most angry about is the fact that people on PS5 got a demo, and those of us who don't have the next-gen systems basically just got straight shit on.
Must be nice.
Yeah.
Must be real nice.
I loved playing the Resident Evil 7 demo. Like, it was so much fun playing that because it actually led into the actual game. Like, you could take some of that information and move it into the game. I have literally done everything I can to avoid everything other than Big Mommy Milker's Vampire Lady for Village. Like, I like going into games that I'm very excited for blind. And that is one where I'm like, I don't want to see. I don't want to see. So
I do that with all the Resident Evil games. I always go on blind.
Back 4 Blood, I think, is one that I'm very excited about simply because of the fact that I'm not exactly the world's hugest Left 4 Dead fan, but I very much enjoy it. Like we were playing World War Z, like I enjoy that kind of like team-based shooting. I feel like Left 4 Dead is, especially the second one, I played a bunch of it on the 360, and I've played a fair amount of it on PC. I just feel like it's something that I need to play more of to really enjoy. But I'm very much looking forward to, because it's pretty much, it's the original team that was working on Left 4 Dead, right? And they're basically, they never got to make, because Valve hates the number 3, they never got to make Left 3 Dead. And that's why we're getting back.
It even has like the same type of logo.
Yeah, it really does. So I'm very much looking forward to that one. And then last but not least, like I was saying, Aliens Fireteam. That's another one that I have not really looked into much. I know it's like squad based, so like you can play with your buddies, and I'm assuming it's kind of like a like Left 4 Dead type of situation. It's kind of like the impression I'm getting from it. And honestly, like, if that is the vein that it's going, I am 100% behind that, because we've got to get some sort of game that kind of cleanses the palate from the Colonial Marines. That game, I have not played it. I kind of want to play it just for the shits and giggles because it was so bad. But we still have not really gotten an Aliens game aside from the original Aliens, which I mean you could more or less call it a beat 'em up arcade game. Like it was a side-scrolling arcade game where you had a gun and you could get some various power-ups. And then we've had a handful of light gun alien arcade games where you're shooting aliens nonstop. Everything else has been like bad movie ports.
I was gonna say Resurrection, from what I remember, was somewhat okay for its time on the PS1.
See, I forgot that was even a game, to be 100% honest with you. The only one that's like popping in my head is like the Alien 3 port, which is just or game, and that just was atrocious. I don't think any of the like games that were out like at that point were very good. I mean, I will die on the hill that Alien Isolation is a wonderful game. It has its flaws. I still want a sequel to that game so bad. I think it deserves a sequel of some kind, even if it's not necessarily the exact same type of game. But that was the first Alien game I had played where it really captured the feel of the Alien movie. Where I spoke to a few other like streamers that were talking about like they were playing it or they had buddies that were playing it, and they didn't like the fact that I don't have a gun, I can't shoot the alien, I can't fight things, and I'm like, that's
the original Alien.
Yeah, like that's
how it was.
Not what it's about. Like Alien is like it is a wonderful handful of horror mixed with a wonderful handful of science fiction. And when you look at the original Alien and even Alien 3, Alien's kind of like that weird. It's a good movie. Like I think most people probably have Aliens as their favorite movie of the series. For me, it's Alien. Alien will always be my favorite one. But to actually, like, I felt like I was in the movie Alien. I still haven't played the Crew Expendable DLC, which literally is the movie Alien, I guess, in the game. But it to be able to hide from it, to feel powerless, like, it was so good. I liked it. I liked that they were able to capture that. I just thought the ending of the game was a bit shit. But
that's really the only game that I've actually been scared in for so long, in a game for so long, probably since like the original Resident Evils back in the day. Nothing really compares to that one. It's super just stressful, and you can get really scared by that one. Really great game.
So yeah, the atmosphere on the spaceship is just on another level. Compared, I don't think I've played anything that's come close to atmosphere like that.
The detail that they put into it is just insane, because I'm walking around the ship and it's like, it's not just like, okay, you're on a spaceship. You feel like you're on a space station from the Alien universe. They didn't just slap something together. They took the stuff from like Aliens and the original film. Like you see all the different designs and how everything is laid out, the way the vents are done. I mean, all of it was just so what's the word I'm looking for? Brain, why did you do this to me? Immersive. That's the word we were looking for. Don't worry, my brain is small, but we get to where we need to be. But it felt so immersive, and I loved it so much. Yes, there were points where I got super frustrated because the AI of the alien can be a bit wonky, but in general, like, I don't know. I feel like it really captured that feel. So I'm looking forward to. Welcome to the Alien Isolation podcast. I'm looking forward to Aliens Fire Team, where hopefully it captures that feel of getting overrun with aliens and fighting your way through and rescuing people, whatever the case it may be. Like I'm hoping that they're able to, catch lightning in a bottle twice or whatever for it. That's all I got, so I'll move it on to Beano or Gadget, whichever you want to go next.
I can go, I guess. I'll start it off with games that we have probably talked about, which I don't think is going to come out, as Elden Ring, right?
Yeah.
I doubt that it's going to come out this year, but man, would I love it to. So I'm not really going to talk about that one much since we discussed that last podcast. First, I'll start off with a game that apparently has already came out that I really would love to play. Is the Turrican Flashback series. It's the complete collection of Turrican games, and I have never played those, and I'm a bit of a fan of the Contra ones. I'm not that great at it, but Turrican is something that I've always been meaning to play, and why not? I think it's good enough time than any to get into that one. Besides the ones that you've already discussed, which, like you said, Alien Fireteam, and what was the other one? Back for Blood. Those are great games that I'm looking very forward to just to play stream-wise. I think we'll all have fun doing a multi-stream of that. And also Evil Dead, if that's going to come out.
Yes.
That'd be another great one to do.
Oh, hi, Doggy.
Besides that, okay. I'm really looking forward to. There's a game called Kanoia, I think it's called. It's I think it's a PS5 game. It kind of reminds me. It looks like a DreamWorks movie. It's very, very pretty. I think it's a platformer type. I think it looks really neat, and I'm very excited to try that one out. Let me see what else was there. There's one that I'm gonna wait to talk about for when Taco comes back, because I think it would be one that he should try out as well. But the one that I'm most excited for, and it's sad because they've already came out before, and I pre-ordered it too, is
I know where this is going.
Yes, the Mass Effect Legendary Trilogy. This is the one I am so excited for, and I'm ready for it. I just want it now. It's just the 3 Mass Effect games, and Mass Effect 2 is my favorite game of all time. I've played Mass Effect 1 and 3 and Andromeda. I've played them all. And I'm so excited to go back into that series, and I've heard they fixed up a bit of the original Mass Effect, like the combat's a little different and whatnot, make it feel like the other two. And no game has immersed me as much as Mass Effect has. So I'm so excited to go back into it. That one I'm so damn excited for. Let's see. I'm looking at other games. But yeah, I just pre-ordered that one because that is a for certain game that I really, really want to play.
The only one of those I've ever played is 3, and I absolutely loved it. So getting a remaster of 1 and 2 and getting on those as well, I'd be keen for.
Yeah, I'd love to see you play those as well. Beano. I think you would really enjoy them.
Well, I have got Andromeda in the stream queue as well eventually, so
yeah,
I'd be keen. G'day,
so yeah, the other one that I was going to bring up when I was waiting for you to come back, Taco, was a game called Axiom Verge 2. Oh. It's a Metroidvania, and I loved Axiom Verge 1. And it's a little indie game, very Metroid type. And I just found out that they were doing a sequel. And that is one that I'm certainly going to get. Very excited for. I would recommend anybody who likes Metroidvania games to give the original Axiom Verge a try. It's a blast.
It is. Axiom Verge has been on my radar forever. It's another one of those games that I knew it was a Metroidvania. It's a little more Metroid inspired, which again, like I said way back at the beginning of the podcast, like I've never really taken that dive into Metroid. My only experience with Metroid was freaking the GameCube game when that first came out. I forget which one it was called, but that's why I bought my GameCube, was for that Metroid game.
For Metroid Prime?
Metroid Prime, yes, thank you. But I never got into the Prime series. I just couldn't get into it, so I've never jumped back into any Metroid style games. But I did see Axiom Verge 2 was coming out this year, and I was like, oh, maybe I finally need to just break down and play Axiom Verge, because I keep seeing it going on sale, but it never really seems to go under like $13. And I know I'm gonna sound like such a cheap like bastard, but it's like, for a lot of those indie games and stuff, and digital games specifically, like that $10 price tag is like what I want to hit. Like everything more than, like, I hate spending more than like $10 to $15 on a digital game, because there's just so much random stuff that can happen. Then all of a sudden it's like, you don't have game no more. But it's, yes, Axiom Verge 2 is it almost made my short list of games I was looking forward to. But thankfully I had Record of Lodoss War to fall back on for a Metroidvania game that I'm looking forward to, that's coming out this year.
But yeah, I would highly, highly recommend you trying out Axiom Verge. It is a lot of fun, especially if you're a Metroidvania game player. If you really like those, it's going to be up your alley. I don't even think I've seen the trailers to Axiom Verge 2. I kind of want to go on blind to it. I think it's going to be a great time, just like the first one was. The first had quite a bit of replayability, and it was quite long as well. So if you're a little worried about the price, I think it's definitely worth $15 if you get it around there.
See, that's been my my concern. Like it's like I'm very thankful that Bloodstained, Ritual of the Night, because I just want to call it Castlevania Symphony of the Night so bad, because literally it's just a reskin. But it's like, I love that was on Game Pass and I got a chance to finally play it. I think I probably will end up like dropping money on it like next time it goes on sale, because I don't really want to spend $30 on it. But if it goes for like 20, like I'll definitely pick up Bloodstained again. It's definitely a game that I could see myself playing a few times. It had such Symphony of the Night vibes that I can play it again. I won't have an issue with it. Especially since, unfortunately, with it now being off Game Pass, I don't get to finish the map I was building out or check out the new game pluses or anything like that. So it's I don't know if I want to pick it up on like PS4 or Switch, but it's definitely, again, it's a Metroidvania, so it's definitely a game I want to dive into. But that actually gives me a little bit of comfort, because Axiom Verge was a game where I didn't know how long it was, and if it does have a decent amount of length and some replayability, then that does open up the price tag a little bit more, because there's just so many games I get and I feel like I'm going to get the replayability out of it or length, and then it's like, oh, well, that wasn't, I don't live by the dollar per hour anymore. That was my old rule when I used to play video games like frequently. It's like, if I buy a video game for $50, I better be able to play it for 50 hours, or at least some form of replayability or something. Now it's just like, oh, hey, this game's on sale for $10 and it's normally $70. I'll buy it.
But yeah, like I said, my number one would definitely still be Mass Effect, the Legendary Edition trilogy. You weren't there for that, Taco, but that's coming out May 13th. I pre-ordered it. I'm ready for it. I just want it now. Yeah. So,
get this man some Mass Effect.
Yes. I've been really wanting to play these. I have them on the Xbox, the originals, and I've been trying to keep away from playing them. So,
just having a cheeky
come on,
look.
May.
Axiom Verge is currently 50% off on Steam.
Ooh.
So, or at least it is on Australian Steam. I don't know if Australian Steam is different to American
Oh
Steam.
my god. Let me fire up regular Steam.
Somebody get this man some Axiom Verge.
Somebody hand that man an Axiom Verge.
Val, I'm not exactly sure what is on the Turrican.
Axiom Verge do be $10. Oh, my wife did just get paid. We did just get a stimulus check.
Methinks some Metroidvania might be in order.
I mean, if I'm gonna, here I am saying if it's like $10, I'll buy it. It's $10, and now I'm like, I don't know if I want to buy it. But the reason I'm like a little hesitant about it just right now is because if I'm gonna buy something right now, I'm gonna dump the money into Isaac. It's just
very fair.
That's the only thing.
Because that's the 1st of April, isn't it?
No, I think it's before the end of the month, if memory serves.
Oh, is it?
I'm literally bringing it up right now. March 31st. Literally the end of the month.
I think it's coming out later for Switch, which is where I've been doing most of my Isaac runs. So.
I feel you.
Val, it comes with Turrican 1, 2, Mega Turrican, and Super Turrican. That is the ones. It's on PS4 and Switch.
I'm just looking at all the screenshots of Repentance on Steam now. It looks so good. Oh, I need it.
I should have bought it when it was on sale. I should have pre-ordered it when it was on sale. They had a bundle of it that was like $30 or something, and I was like, I'll wait on it. Now they have the bundle. It's Rebirth, Afterbirth, Afterbirth Plus, and Repentant, and it's $51. And I'm like, I should have just pulled the trigger. But I'll have to look and see if it's if it is getting DLC'd to the Switch. I mean, that might actually give me the pull to just finally get it on the Switch.
I know it is coming to Switch, but I don't think it's coming. I think it's coming later than.
It'll probably come later,
release.
in Steam. Then again, if you're into the mods of Isaac, which I hear is even more fun, is all the different mods you can add to it. I'd go probably Steam.
There sure is a co-op mod that I've been playing with my brother. Co-op Isaac is unreal. It's nuts.
So here we go. We could probably do an entire podcast on Binding of Isaac.
Binding of Isaac podcast.
But when you're playing it, because I'm just curious for the co-op mod, when you're playing it and there's an item, does only one person get that item? Like,
yes.
Oh God, that's terrible, but great at the same time.
Only one person gets soul hearts or whatever, so you can be cheeky with it. But it's a good time. It does the Steam couch play thing, but you do like a remote play. And you're basically doing like the local co-op online using the mod. It's spicy.
Alrighty, so Beano, your top games of 2021.
I've got written down in my little scribble pad. I've got Binding of Isaac Repentance that we've talked about. I am unbelievably keen, but I'm gonna have to wait until it comes to Switch because all of the items and crap that I've unlocked are all on my Switch profile and on my Steam profile, so I don't want to have to go and do it all again. I'm gonna have to wait until that comes to Switch. I've got Resident Evil Village that I'm very excited for because I absolutely adored Resident Evil 7. Elden Ring we talked about. If it comes this year, I'd be very keen. And the big one that I am really keen for, which again is another if it comes this year, it's sort of in limbo at the moment, is Dying Light 2.
Oh, okay.
Oh, yeah.
I loved Dying Light. I played a co-op with my buddy Luke, and it is just such a blast parkouring, running off zombies' heads, throwing cricket bats at people. It is just mayhem. It is one of the best zombie games I've ever played. And the sequel, when I heard it was coming, I almost shit myself. And at the moment, it's sort of, it might be coming by the end of the year. Everywhere, like if you go onto Wikipedia, it says it's coming 2021, but it's sort of, is it, isn't it? But if it does come out this year, then that's probably the one I'm looking forward to the most.
I played bits and pieces of the first game because I know my buddy Jesse, that's like one of his favorite games. He has like just countless hours put into that game, and we started playing an online co-op like story mode, and I did enjoy it. Again, like I'm gonna sound and out of the blue, Luke.
Hi, Luke.
Definitely an absolute blast of a game. Again,
G'day, mate.
It's like on the one hand, I'm praising Resident Evil 7 for being this great first-person combat game that I'm enjoying, and then Dying Light falls into the opposite category for me. That first-person combat just kind of misses sometimes, and it's just, I don't know. That's just me. So like when I had a longer ranged weapon, I felt much better in that game. I felt like I had a little more control of my attacks. But like if you just have like a hammer or something, like it just doesn't feel as good.
It's definitely a bit mashing while you're swinging side to side like this and just sort of hoping for the best. But I think it felt pretty good, especially with like a lot of the perks you can get, like throwing. Like there's a perk you can get where you can just throw any weapon.
Yeah,
Like you have a big axe. You just throw it, and it was just a hoot. I loved it.
I was gonna say, yeah, the parkour element of that game is so much fun. That's probably the thing that I remember most. I haven't beaten it. I played probably maybe 6 to 8 hours worth of it, and just going to different places and going to different what is it? Kind of like the Far Cry deal of getting what is it? Like bases or whatever, or
Yep.
over thing. Yeah, like
your
that was
safe
just a
house
whole
things
lot
that
of
you can
fun.
get.
Yeah, the safe houses. I remember that being a ton of fun.
All right, well, I have to interrupt everything here for a minute because I just randomly Steam pops up something. A huge shout out to my moderator, D. Valroth, for gifting me Axiom Verge.
Poggers. Let's go.
Shout out to you, my friend. So now I'll eventually dive into that.
Definitely have to stream it. A lot of fun.
That will definitely be a stream game. I can definitely see me doing that. No, kind of piggybacking on the parkour bit. I definitely did enjoy that. I feel like they did parkour very, very, very well, and I feel like it adds to the game, but it doesn't necessarily make it the focus of the game, which
Yeah.
I kind of enjoy. And this is going to be not necessarily a deep dive, but this is going to be like a throwback. I was very excited for Mirror's Edge when it came out.
I was going to bring that up with the parkour, yeah.
It basing the whole game around the parkour. I was like, oh my god, like this game looks like it's going to be so much fun. You're wall jumping and grabbing pipes and just constant fluid movement. And I could see probably as a speedrunner that probably is a very good game because you kind of find a line and you go. But as far as like the actual gameplay when I got into it, I was very disappointed because it was, if you don't master the parkour
I get you.
welcome back in pog form. If you don't master that parkour, like the game just kind of grinds to a halt, and the combat is terrible. And like once you get shot, like you stop moving, and it's just like, oh, like the game is so gimmicked around the parkour that it just is like, eh. So when I heard the parkour in Dying Light, I just was like, okay, well, we'll see. But it doesn't feel gimmicked in there. It feels like you're creating fluid movement. So I really appreciate what they did with that.
Yeah, it didn't feel like a parkour game with zombies in it. It definitely felt like a zombie game that has some parkour in it. It didn't feel just sort of tacked on. It felt like there was a purpose to it, and it was all nice and smooth. And yeah, no, I could sing the praises of Dying Light all day long. I love that game.
Alrighty, so that brings us to the final thing of the day, the Q&A. So, like I said before, well, we're going to start it off with the one question I had, was what games as us pods or three beans on a pod, what ones did we enjoy watching of the others play on the streams?
See, I listed, because I didn't 100% get the question, I just kind of typed it out real quick. I literally just put favorite to watch and least favorite to watch of
we can do both.
The three of us.
Yes.
And I think also, why don't we just like go ahead and throw in there like what has been your favorite and least favorite to stream? Just kind of like, let's just kind of all just like for 2020, like let's just balls to the wall, go way deep in there, baby. I'm uncomfortable now.
Need to look up my own streams and remember what I streamed.
Yeah, it do be like that, don't it? I mean, I'll start, and it's probably going to take me a hot second to really think. Um, I definitely this is gonna sound really weird, but it's like for Beano, like especially when I was first watching you, um, like I liked your vibe, which is why like I liked hanging out so much. Like it wasn't so much about your gameplay, but like when it was just the straight racing, it was kind of like okay, like I can vibe with Beano and kind of joke about it, and it's like I'm all good. He's using actual pedals, so this is like an interesting like thing to watch. But it's like I don't know. It's one of those things where it's like it's probably not the world's greatest thing to watch. But it's like on the other hand, this is what I said where it's going to sound weird. I really enjoyed watching you do it because there were a couple of streams where it was you and Ant, and you guys were just doing like the ridiculous backward races and
Oh, the reverse
intentionally
races.
pitting each other, and there was a lot of stuff on the multiplayer end of it that was a lot of fun to watch. I mean, I was going to say, I mean, if we're just saying in general, I know we're saying like last year. I mean, honestly, I think any of your Souls stuff, Beano, has been, a blast. Whether it's Sekiro or the Dark Souls or whatever, like watching you play those games is very satisfying. Because like now that I'm getting into Dark Souls 1, like watching somebody play it and seeing like, well, here's where they're making the mistake. Why aren't they doing this? Why aren't they doing this? And then you actually start playing it and it's like, why can't I see the things I see when I'm not playing it? But
It's like that.
the way you would Twitch is such a weird place where like people are either going to want to hang out and watch somebody eventually succeed, or they're going to dip out because it's like this guy sucks. He can't even beat this boss. But the Souls game is such a different vibe, especially if you're with somebody who you're accustomed to. That like, yeah, they might get stuck, but as soon as they finally get over that hurdle, it's like satisfying. Even for you as a viewer, it's satisfying. Um, I mean, for Gadget, as far as you, like, I don't know, man. Like, maybe I'm a poop head. I don't know. I feel like all I've seen you stream is Dead by Daylight. Um, I think if I had to boil it down to like what do I like more than the other, I would say I probably don't like your single killer plays as much as when I can't actively participate in multi-stream Friday where you guys are just all together like just having a laugh and playing Survivor. I mean, it's a preference type of thing. And that's not even necessarily a thing about you. I don't really particularly care to watch people who are just like straight killer main. It's if the person is like god level, then it's like okay, well this is like really cool. Like if you watch somebody with a huntress and they're able to like fucking tag people from across the map, then it's like holy shit, like that's ridiculous. But it's like in general, like okay, you're killing somebody, you're doing something. I think Dead by Daylight in general, as a streaming thing, especially if you're doing it solo, like it's tougher because having more people to play with you just makes the overall experience better. So I mean, my favorite thing to watch you stream is Dead by Daylight, and my least favorite thing is Dead by Daylight. Same thing for Beano, F1 and F1. No, it's just it is what it is. There. I mean, I really did actually. Now that I stop and think about it, I really did enjoy watching you play Demon Souls. I only actually got to catch you a couple of times, and the one time I did catch you, you were like stuck in that fire cavern area for I don't know how long.
Yeah, that was a nightmare.
I felt so bad for you because it was like I even was trying to track. I was like, okay, he's gone this way and this way, but it got to a point where I just was like, I feel like he's done every tunnel. I don't know what he's missed at this point. But no,
I forgot all about that damn tunnel. That was a nightmare.
No, that was I did enjoy you playing Demon Souls, so I can definitely say that. If I'm looking at myself for my favorite thing to stream and my least favorite thing to stream, I think it's for me my least favorite thing that I streamed even though I said like Puyo Puyo and Paper Mario, I think Kododama, the Seven Mysteries of Fujisawa, are probably even higher on that list of things that I don't want to stream. There's so little actual gameplay in that game, and when I finally thought I got to the end of the game, it keeps doing a weird loop, and I'm assuming that that loop probably ends via the story because it's such a bizarre. The game is, it's a match 3 game, and when you're doing the match 3 game, you make people's clothes fall off, and it's good for a chuckle. And then the story starts off as like you're a paranormal investigator in this high school club, and then it just goes like balls to the wall at the end with just like random murder plot and time travel and all this other shit. And it just like, but when it put me all the way back to the beginning of the game again, I just was like, I don't want to keep doing this. So I feel bad for never finishing it on stream, but I just reached a point with it where I just was like, I don't want to play this anymore. Like, and that's why I just hammered through Paper Mario and I hammered through Puyo Puyo, because I started them. I don't want to start things and then not finish them. It's like, I'll get through the story. That's it. Am I going to do the side quests in Puyo Puyo Tetris? Maybe. I mean, there's a lot of little side stories that could be cute to see. I don't know, but it's not something I'm going to be jumping back into immediately. RimWorld is probably up there. Mr. Mine says RimWorld is probably my fave taco stream so far. RimWorld was very much a surprise. I did not expect to enjoy it as much as I did. So it was very, very enjoyable. I think my favorite game I'm playing on stream is probably Super Mario Odyssey. Like, as far as like just straight gameplay, like I'm just having so much fun. You know, every time I go into it, I have to remember the controls. But once I get that like fog out of the way, I'm just enjoying the hell out of it. And just, how do I get from here to there? Well, what can I do to cheese my way from here to there? And stuff like that. But Super Mario Odyssey or the Random Family Feud nights, probably my favorite like stream stuff, because it's when everybody is in the community just kind of coming in and just, you know, either making joke answers or trying to seriously beat the other computer team. Like, definitely super duper enjoyable. So that's probably what I would list for all of my stuff. So Gadget, you already shit all over my Puyo Puyo and Super Mario. Is there anything you actually like me watching or playing?
Yes, I really loved a lot of your retro stuff. Like you said, the Family Feud. I really love the Super Nintendo version you do, just because I grew up with that game. I had it and I played it so much, and it really hit home for me when I started watching you. It was like, oh, I used to play this, you know, as a kid, and very nostalgic. Also, I remember you did a 3DO night. That was a ton of fun. Let's see. Games that I didn't like I said, was Puyo Puyo, just because it's very hard for you to keep track with chat, you know. So it was just meh. And Paper Mario was just very not that good for me. I just really didn't enjoy it. Let's see. Beano, the game, I really, really liked watching you play. Let's see. I really liked Quantum Break. I thought I wasn't gonna like it, honestly, because of I thought it was gonna be weird with the episode times and just like the gameplay. But I had such a blast watching it, and then just the memes we had, the Brenner stuff.
Oh, Brenner, you cheeky son of a bitch!
And Jack, forget Will Jack.
Forget Will Jack.
I always make sure to put that in your streams lately. It's just so much fun. The one that I was kind of a letdown for me, it was more disappointing, was the Dingo game.
Yeah,
I was hoping the whole Dingo War, it was a bit of a letdown.
Yeah.
But that wasn't your fault. That was just the game's.
The shitty Steam game.
Yes. Because I had so much hype going into it, you know. We built it up, and then Bit of a letdown.
Unfortunately, that's what happens with memes sometimes. You build them up and then...
Yeah.
Build them up and then an emu just eats your face, and it's just the way it goes.
Games that I enjoyed to stream and ones that I didn't. The game that I probably really enjoyed the most that I've streamed was the Terminator game, and I haven't finished it yet. I'd love to go back to it. I think it's a really cool Fallout light, but in the Terminator universe. It's really fun. I don't know why I stopped playing, and I should go back to it. What else? I also would love to go back to Deadly Premonition. That was my big affiliate stream birthday game, and everybody had so much fun watching me play it. And yeah, I should go back to it. That's one of my favorite games too. Critiquing, it's just games that we have enjoyed as watching as a viewer and whatnot.
Moon, we love everything
see.
you do. There's nothing I could watch you do that is ever bad. Hashtag AJ Crankyshaw.
Honestly, I got so burned out on Dead by Daylight, and I still do. But the multi-stream stuff is very fresh, playing as a survivor. So I enjoy that. And I really didn't like being at that point, being just a Dead by Daylight streamer. I got so tired of it, and that's why I try to not play it that often. I only play it during streams with the friends. So yeah, I guess that would be mine. Beano?
Alrighty, let's start with Taco. I absolutely adored the Family Feud streams. I think they were the first thing of yours. I think when I first came into your streams, I rated out with Family Feud, and I was like, this is a crazy concept, and I love it. It was absolutely unreal. I love the Family Feud, the chat interaction. It's just wholesome content, but with stupid dick jokes and goonsacks and shit just happening. Like Gadget said, I didn't go super big on Paper Mario, but I think that was more so the game. Like the streams were fun. Hanging out with everybody is just always good, but I think the game itself just sort of wasn't there.
Exactly.
Yeah. Gadget, Deadly Premonition. I almost forgot what it was called. Deadly Premonition. I absolutely loved that. I mean, I don't know a single thing about it apart from watching you play it, but I had such a good time trying to convince you guys that I knew who the killer was. That was good vibe. Like, yeah,
I'm definitely going back into it. I have to.
Oh, you better. I don't know if there's a whole lot that I haven't liked that you've played. Because, I mean, it's all like the Souls, and Souls are just always good. There was that one, what was that? That weird car game on the PS5 that you played? Destruction All Souls or whatever.
Oh, God, yeah. That was not fun.
I had no idea what was going on. But, I mean, Dead by Daylight, yes. Dark Souls, yes. Demon Souls, yes. Just give it all to me. Stuff that I've liked that I've played, Quantum Break. Like I said, Gadget, I didn't expect a whole lot more than just third-person cover shooter. But then the TV show that was in it, the memes that came out of it, that was probably one of the most fun games that I've streamed for the actual streams itself, more so than the game. Like the game was okay, like it was good. There wasn't anything special about it, but the watch parties that went with it just elevated it to another level. And that I didn't like, I did play right when I first started streaming. I played Blair Witch. It just didn't grab me. I was confused. I didn't know what was going on. There was a forest and there were weird leaf balls that were trying to eat my face. It just didn't grab me. I mean, like I like horror games. I played Resident Evil 7 after that and I loved it, but Blair Witch just wasn't sold.
Alrighty, so if chat has any Q&A or topics they would like to discuss with us, you are more than welcome to.
I did see Nightwolf dropped a question earlier, and for me, it'll probably be like super duper short because honestly, like I didn't
Well,
do
these
a lot
are
of
tend
these
to be a
things.
little quicker than the rest. The Q&As,
Yeah.
just kind of bullet.
He asked what our favorite like movie and book that we partook in last year. I don't think I read anything last year. I'm not gonna lie. I am
Can we
so.
just do comics? I can do that.
I don't even think I did that. I don't think I read anything new at all. Like in the last couple of years, I've been so bad with like comic reading because everything keeps rebooting and resetting, and it's just like honestly, I don't and can't keep up with it, and I definitely can't keep up with it financially. It's just it's too much to try and keep up with on top of all my other random hobbies. Um, I mean, I guess as far as my favorite movie from last year, let me make sure I'm looking at this right. I again I didn't see. Nope, that was 2019. I was gonna say Endgame. Nope, that was 2019. Uh, gosh.
Well, you look it up. I can do some as well. Book wise, if we were doing comics, I read a lot of different ones. I read a lot of Batman that I really enjoyed. I read the original run of the Ninja Turtles. I had a lot of fun reading that, the Kevin Eastman stuff. Um, let's see, movies. It's a very weird time of movies that came out because of the whole pandemic deal. I did get to see The Invisible Man in theaters. I thought that was okay. I enjoyed Sonic. I saw that too. Uh, that's really it. I'm trying to think of things that actually did come out. I did binge The Tiger King, I guess. I thought that was fun. Everybody binged that.
Yeah,
Everybody
I
had
did
fun
watch
with it.
that.
So, yeah, that's mine.
I'm literally looking at movies from 2020, and
There wasn't many because of the pandemic. That's the thing, you know. A lot of stuff got pushed back.
Yeah, I'm scrolling through Rotten Tomatoes now, and I don't think I've seen any of these ones that I'm looking at.
I mean, there's a lot of movies that I kind of wanted to, like, I see Mulan's on the list. I did see Sonic. So I guess Sonic was my favorite 2020 film. I mean, Birds of Prey is on here. I wanted to see that, but I know it's not going to be
I
good.
haven't seen it yet either. I want to watch it. I own it, but I haven't watched it.
I mean, Monster Hunter came out last year, but I'm sure that's going to be bad.
Yeah, apparently it is real bad.
I mean, Bill and Ted came out, but that was underwhelming, I guess, and like I'm not the biggest Bill and Ted person. I mean, I'm literally just looking at 2020, and there's literally I did watch the Borat sequel. I fell asleep during it. I mean, I just keep looking, and I'm like, these are movies I thought about seeing or tried to watch, and just nod. Just I didn't watch Onward, the Disney Pixar.
That was okay.
film.
I watched it with my son. It was okay.
Was Frozen 2 in 2020?
I don't know. Beano, do you have any?
I was just scrolling through. I think the most recent movie that I've watched was Jojo Rabbit, which I did quite enjoy. It was very silly, but I did quite enjoy that. But I don't think I watched anything that came out last year.
Was that the Nazi youth film?
Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
I swear it's not actually about Nazi youth.
Yeah. No Nazis here.
Alrighty, so I'm gonna say that's good for that one. We've got to kind of do this a little quicker just because I'm running out of time a little bit. So I see Bill did a question. Do you think gaming is going to lead to VR a lot more in future, or do you always think controller and mouse and keyboard will tower over it? I think yes. I think the gimmick of VR is not going to be. It's not going to take hold. It's just a gimmick. A lot of people like me get motion sick, and it's just you can't do it. People with glasses, I know that's sometimes an issue too, but they've fixed it somewhat with the Quest 2, where you can move it, and then the lens will be there. But I don't see it taking over the basic keyboard and mouse or controller deal.
It's also not as accessible. I mean, it's mouse and keyboard. A console, at the end of the day, console is going to always be the most accessible form of video gaming. Like, it's, yes, computer is there, but the fact of the matter is, like, with the Switch being a completely portable system, like, it's there's just way too much ease of access with an actual console system. Um, Mouse and keyboard is probably always going to be, even though it's technically viewed as a superior because of just how quickly it upgrades over consoles. It's again, ease of access. It's there. Anybody can own a computer, whether you can play the highest settings on ultra and shit like that. Like that's up to you. That's your personal preference. But VR is always just going to be a peripheral. There's going to be support for it. It's going to be there, but we're not going to walk away from this. The only time I think if you're going to say the possibility of VR being the future of video games, it's got to be, and this is a bold statement, like 100 years from now, 200 years from now, where technology is literally like Futurama with the iPhone. Literally, boop, you put a contact lens on. And I know that's a freaking joke, but it's still like, we don't, the fact that you still have to have a big bulky thing on the front of your face to play it, like I said, ease of access isn't there. The price tag is still very high, and you have to have something else to go with it. If you buy a $400, PS4 or whatever, 300, you have the system, you have the games, you have the controller. It's there. You don't have to worry about it. Well, I know with the Oculus or whatever the newest one is, like, it's independent now, so like that's
the Quest 2.
It's a better step in the right direction, but the fact of the matter is, like, we have the PS4 VR, and now we have the PS5 VR that's coming out. So if you have the previous one, guess what? There's a new one. And it's like, that just becomes just too bloated, too expensive. There's only so much room for shit, and I don't see it, ever in our lifetime becoming the game way to go.
I can see AR, augmented reality, taking off more than virtual reality, honestly. I could see that could probably get better off. I hope that people get more into that idea, and maybe we'll have like motion type of deals, and we can move things or slide them on and whatnot. I could see that more hitting off than virtual, just because of the headset deal, and it's not going to take over compared to a basic keyboard or mouse or controller.
Judgment too, baby.
I see VR getting bigger, but replacing controller or mouse and keyboard, I think it's going to have a lot of work and money invested into it to get to a point where VR is the way that games are played. I think they're going to have to figure out, as we say, a way to make it more accessible, to make it better, easier, cheaper, by quite a significant factor, to have controller and mouse and keyboard not just be the way that it is. I'm more interested to see if handheld gaming is going to take off again, given the success of the Switch. Like, we've had Vitas and PSPs and Game Boys and DSs and whatnot in the past, but now that the Switch is as incredibly popular as it is, with the hybrid, as you say, if we're going to see more handheld stuff come back in, if we'll see a new PlayStation handheld to go along with the PS5, or if the Switch is just going to freak out and just be god tier in 3 years' time or whatever. I'm interested.
I don't know if you've seen these, but they have GPD Wins, like a Win 3. It's like a handheld PC, and you can play. It's like an emulation station too, but you can also play a lot of current games on it too. But they're very, very expensive. I can see maybe in a couple of years when they drop down in price, I could see those probably picking off, and a lot of people getting them. I wish I could have one, because you can even do, with the latest one, you can run like 360, PS2 emulation perfect. It even does some Switch stuff, and 3DS. It's all in one, and plus PC, Steam, you name it. It does it all.
Well, this is inaccurate. This guy's playing Cyberpunk on his, and nobody plays Cyberpunk.
That's true.
Just flagrant false advertising.
So do we have any other questions?
Let's see. We'll let see if anything else pops up. We're not trying to force questions out of you. It's always just if you want to ask something. And the Q&A thing is like you can either ask us anything we've talked about today, or just it's almost literally just kind of like an AMA at the end if you guys don't have anything.
Yeah.
That's cool. We can wrap it up. If we do, we will be wrapping up 40 minutes sooner than our first episode. So that's a step in the right direction.
Yeah, I'm just trying to make it a little more condensed, just because like we do have stuff to do. Like I got to put my son to sleep. Probably like 10 minutes. Beano needs to eat.
I need to go to bed.
Exactly. So,
I need to go
don't mean to seem like I'm like being a grump or anything. I just want us to.
No, life do
keep
be
it
like
going.
that. It's okay.
Yeah.
No, we have literally just hit the 3-hour mark perfectly. And I know there is a delay from video to stream, but I'm not seeing anything else pop up. So I'm gonna say we should be pretty good to wrap it up. I enjoyed this. I think this was a pretty good one.
Yeah.
I like everything we talked about. Hopefully, especially with the plethora of multiplayer games that are coming out, the three of us will spend a few dollars in Dollarinos Bean Pod, and we'll play some of these games that we're looking forward to. I don't really have anything to shill other than the normal stuff. We do have a Discord. Gadget just shared that in chat, so that is the official 3 Beans in a Pod Discord. We'd love to have you all there, just to talk all things 3 Beans, whether it's just, if you want to make a meme of us, if you want to throw some podcast topic ideas, if you just want to talk about the last show, whatever the heck you want to do. We're going to try and make that your one-stop shop for the podcast. There is a YouTube channel, so if you missed the first episode, look, we're 3 Beans in a Pod on YouTube. Like I said, I'm working on the audio version. That will be up eventually. I kind of almost want to get like 3 or 4 episodes in a backlog.
Yeah.
And then
you might as well do that. Just wait a little bit.
And then kind of drop those so people have a little bit of stuff to get into. Other than that, I mean, I'm Dr. Taco. Follow me. Dr. Taco 1982 specifically. That's every social platform you'll find me. TikTok, YouTube, Twitch, Twitter, Steam, whatever you want to look at. I'm there at Dr. Taco 1982.
OnlyFans.
That's not even a fucking joke. Go to onlyfans.com/Dr. Taco 1982. Do it. I dare you right now. That you'll find me. I think the only other thing I have to say is I unless something drastic changes, I will be streaming tomorrow night, trying to make up for the Dark Souls stream that I missed earlier in the week. So I should be doing that tomorrow night. I don't have anything else to shill. Beano, anything you got as we close up?
Beano Supremo _ Twitch, Twitter, come say good day. We've got Dark Souls 3 on Tuesday morning Australia time, Alan Wake on Thursday morning Australia time, and multi-stream Saturdays. I'm assuming we'll be back next weekend. World War Z, DBD, whatever Gadget is motioning, turning a steering wheel. That is on the cards.
I'm excited.
Vehicles being driven by yours truly coming after Alan Wake. So when Alan Wake is done, we'll have Dark Souls 3 and some driving. But yeah, Beano Supremo _ Twitch, Twitter. Come and say hello.
Yeah, so for me, I will be, it's Gadget001 on Twitch. Don't really do the social media that too much. So let's see the schedule. I'm finishing up Bloodborne on Tuesday. I have like the last boss. I might do the other boss too. Besides that, I will be starting Hellpoint. I'm very excited for that. That's another Souls game. And then I'm also going to be going back to Deadly Premonition.
Woo!
Babe.
So get ready for that. It's been a long time coming. And multi-stream Friday. I'm not exactly sure what. I think it might be World War Z next multi-stream Friday.
We still
Or
need to sort
Saturday
out
for
Sea of
Beano.
Thieves at some point, I reckon.
Yeah.
I think Sea of Thieves with you guys would be a absolute vibe.
Yes, that's another one that we want to do. Is Sea of Thieves. There's tons of different ones. Everybody's welcome to join it whenever we start it. Just let us know if you want to join into some games. So yeah, that will do it.
All right, I'm gonna fire up the old raid. I'm gonna head to Dork Chop unless there's any objections.
Sounds good to me.
Yeah, that sounds fine. Actually, let's head to. I see Audio Blood is playing. He doesn't really get to stream too much.
Ah.
How about we raid him if that's okay? I think he would really appreciate the views, and make sure to give him a follow, guys.
Is it 812? I just want to make sure.
Yeah.
Okay.
I just thought we haven't. He comes in a lot for everybody, and I think it'd be nice.
That works for me.
Make sure to give him some love, guys.
I'll say, because I literally was just going to bring the love to Dork Chop as he's probably getting ready to finish up the UFC stream. So no, we'll go to Audio Blood. He's a good homie. I've been playing. I think I've mostly just played some. He stops in, always drops in a landmine, and he do be playing some good Rocket League. So yeah, thank you so much, everybody. This is a blast. I really enjoy the whole live streaming aspect of this. Keep an eye out for future. We still don't have a set schedule for the 3 Beans in a Pod. We kind of just threw together this idea of this, games we like, games we hated, games we want to see, kind of quick, so we could just do another podcast because we wanted to. So yeah, keep an eye on the channel.
Expect it sooner than later, I would imagine. I'd say.
Ooh. All right. Well, thank you, everybody. We're hitting so low on the raid now thing. So thank you, everybody. And on behalf of Beano and Gadget, good night and good luck, everyone.
Bye.